time to get you ready for the match with the Phoenix Rising pregame warm-up on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Time in the Pa Motoka era, Phoenix Rising are heading east of the valley. Their first stop, a team they'll face 3 times this season in El Paso Locomotive. 2 teams looking for their first win of 2025. 2 teams looking to grow this year after middling performances in 2024. 2 teams squaring off on a cool, blustery night at Southwest University Park. It's coming up right here on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network. Good evening, everyone. Alongside Reese Goodall, I'm Mihirson Hassan. Thanks for tuning in on this Saturday night. We're here in our bunker back in Phoenix, but nonetheless a cool night in El Paso. Temperatures dipping down to around 50 degrees. We're expecting gusts to around 30 miles per hour. We're assuming it's going to be crosswind, so not anything affecting each side as they move from one side of the pitch to the other. But nonetheless, Reese, a good atmosphere on tap tonight, and a Phoenix Rising side that's trying to rebound after a loss last week.
In that loss against Tulsa last weekend, they struggled at times to move the ball, struggled at times going forward, which is something that was kind of unexpected going into the opening week of the season, where Pa Motoka kind of promised attacking football, promised a 4-3-3 style, which we saw that part, but we didn't quite see the attacking style, and I think that's going to be on display tonight in El Paso.
Yeah, you talk about last week, a 1-0 loss to Tulsa. Phoenix Rising holding 68% of possession in that one. Rising with a lot of chances, including a Colin Smith shot that was coming on from the right side of the area. A shot down low, but cleared off the line. A 25th minute score by Alex DeLu. A rebound for Tulsa gave them a 1-0 lead. Ended up being the game winner overall. And now Phoenix Rising trying to chase those points after a loss at home. Once again, another year where they have started off the season with a 1-0 home loss. The last year coming up against Birmingham Legion SC, the start of the Danny Stone era, and then things really started to unfold for Rising after that. More losses than goals in the first 4 games. That 1 goal against Oakland Roots SC, Panos Armenakis with the winner. That only win during that time. Losses to Monterey Bay and New Mexico United. Same scoreline with that one, 1-0 overall. Overall in the game this past Saturday, Tulsa had more shots, and they also had more shots on goal. Big chances overall, and like you said, Reese, Pa Motoka really preaching this attacking style to his players, and he's telling both the media and the fans about it as well. How do they get this attack going?
They need to run more. They need to move off the ball more. That was one thing that really stood out to me in that first half. Rising just kept passing the ball between their 2 center backs, Mo Traore on the left, Pop Marboy on the right, and Patrick Rakowski, Rising's goalkeeper in that match. There wasn't movement from Colin Smith in that right back spot, which we expected to see him overlap Darius Formella, which we saw in preseason. Formella really wasn't moving at all. A lot of pieces that we expected to move off the ball just didn't quite deliver that. And when you're going up against a low block, that's one of the key things you need to do to beat a low block and create chances and score a goal, which they just simply couldn't last week.
Phoenix Rising, again, came in with experience into that game based off the preseason, going out to Coachella Valley, getting some quality results against MLS sides, and then heading back home, taking on Phoenix College and St. Louis City SC2, dealing with them pretty handily as well before that inter-squad scrimmage on the Friday before the opener against FC Tulsa. Overall, this is a Phoenix Rising side that, when you look at it, Reese, it's kind of sort of a correlation between Phoenix Rising and El Paso. When these 2 teams meet up, especially for Phoenix Rising, it tends to be an emotional game. The 3rd meeting in the past 9 months tonight for Phoenix Rising and El Paso. The first one happening exactly 9 months ago on June 15th, 2024. A draw 1-1 at Southwest University Park. That was the 3rd to last game for Phoenix Rising under Danny Stone. He was fired a couple weeks later. It was also the last goal for Panos Armenakis in red and black before being dealt to now defunct Memphis 901 FC. Similar ideals in the matchup at 38th and Washington on July 19th. It was a 2-0 win for Phoenix Rising. First home game for Phoenix Rising under Diego Gomez, and the first appearances for both Charlie Dennis and Damian Barker-John, who is now back off of his loan at Real Monarchs SC in the MLS Next Pro. And that kind of leads us into today. The first road game under Pa Motoka. Both teams looking for their first win of 2025 after El Paso Locomotive drew Colorado Springs Switchbacks 2-2 last week. Many players yet to debut with this side for Rising. And again, you can talk about it, Reese, that there's somewhat of a coincidence with this overall, but the emotion, it kind of states overall that even though players have gone in and out of this roster, it kind of shows the benchmark of Phoenix Rising as a whole over the past year or so.
It really has. I mean, you mentioned the 2 games last year where that was the beginning or the end and then the beginning of 2 eras, and now we're in the beginning of yet a 3rd era for Risings in terms of their head coach. If you look at El Paso, though, even though they underwent some coaching changes last year, firing Brian Clarhaut in May of last year, Wilmer Cabrera was the head man for both those 2 games. And then, but looking ahead to the rest of the season, Rising's got 2 matchups against El Paso, or 2 more after tonight, 2 very big ones. They've got a game in the league in August. That one will be back at 38th Street in Washington. And then they've got a Jägermeister Cup game. Now, who really knows how seriously the USL Championship sides will take the Jägermeister Cup? But even so, it's later in that cup run for Rising. It could be meaningful for both those sides. It could be a lot of tensions on the pitch for both teams.
You talked about the Jägermeister Cup, 4 group stage games across this season. Top team from the 6 groups advanced to the quarterfinal. Phoenix Rising set to take on El Paso along with New Mexico United, Colorado Springs Switchbacks, San Antonio FC amongst the USL Championship sides. And then you look at USL League One, Texoma FC, and then Human Omaha also in that group. So a lot of different emotions, a lot of different expectations with this Phoenix Rising side overall as they head across this season. And we'll hear from Pa Motoka in a second, but he was pretty optimistic early on in the season, saying that you don't win medals off of that first game, but then again, you also want to make sure you don't get in a rut overall.
Exactly, and you want to have a good showing in that first game, but at the end of the day, when we're in September, October, that game won't mean anything. You want to have that good display, but you want to pick it up today, pick it up next week against Rhode Island, which is going to be a tough opponent. Rising's got some tough opponents in the next few months with San Antonio, Detroit, Sacramento, some very good teams on the mark. So you want to pick up points early so you don't find yourself in even a bigger hole later on.
So Phoenix Rising, the 11th all-time meeting between them and El Paso Locomotive. They have not won at the Borderlands since April 13, 2019. The last 2 trips there were draws. Teams with a lot of history and a lot of history to continue on this season. The first road trip of the Pa Motoka era, less than 30 minutes before kickoff. We'll take a break, and we'll be back for more right after this on the Phoenix Rising pregame warm-up.
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL Champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hello?
Man, where are you? I thought you were coming.
I can't. I'm in bed with the flu.
The flu? Whoa. Grandma's about to crowd surf. Man, I'll call you back.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is safe, effective, and you can get it at the same time as your COVID-19 vaccine. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council. Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
We're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the pregame warm-up on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Because we've got a squad together, they've gelled in very well, which is fantastic. Again, preseason is to build, and they're building up good in preseason. It's the first game, and you can understand some people. But I'm very happy with where the group is and what they're working towards, because at the end of the day, no medals are given in after the first game.
That's Pa Motoka, the new Phoenix Rising head coach. One game in for him. It was a loss 1-0 to Tulsa last week. Game number 2 on the road at El Paso Locomotive, the first road trip under Pa Motoka alongside Reese Goodall. I'm Ahir Hassan. Welcome back to the Phoenix Rising pregame warm-up. And with that, let's take you through the starting lineups for today's game. As we'll see in a few moments if you're tuning in on our social streams on X and Facebook. Not too many changes for two sides that are looking for their first win of the season. We'll start with Phoenix Rising first. As you can see on our social streams, a 4-3-3. Patrick Rakowski in goal. The only change is Harvey Neville on the left in that left back spot, the Manchester United product. Mo Traore and Pop Marboy, the Senegal boys, will be your two center backs. Colin Smith once again on the right. In the midfield today, Hope Aveyevu in the 10, Carl Saint in the 6, Noble Okello in the 8th, and up top going from left to right, Damien Rivera, Remy Cabral, and Darius Formella. An attack overall that had a less than a 6.0 rating on the great side Foot Mob. You're going to focus on the number 9 for today, Reese, and that's Remy Cabral.
I mean, for Remy Cabral, it's all about just picking up form from a season ago where he struggled at times. Yes, he had injury, he had some personal issues, but he also had a really good form at some point. He had a 5-match run where he had scored 6 goals, including 2 braces in that run. If he can rekindle that form from a year ago, I think Rising really do have something special in Remy Cabral, but you got to get off the mark at some point, and there's no better time than tonight for Remy.
8 substitutions available on the bench tonight for Phoenix Rising. It's part of the Youth Players Sporting Initiative, a rule change that makes road games the same as home games when it leads to more youth players being on the bench. Those youth players overall, Braxton Montgomery, the academy product, along with Jameson Ping, who just signed himself to a professional contract a couple of weeks ago. Also on the bench for Phoenix Rising, Tristan Henry, the backup goalkeeper, JP Skierce, Emi Quaisho, back after missing some time with a lower body injury, Alex Araneda, Isan Sacco, and Julio Dortioto. So that's what Phoenix Rising looks like in the 4-3-3. Let's take a look at El Paso lining up in the 3-4-3 under Wilmer Cabrera, now the permanent head coach at El Paso Locomotive. Jamali Waite, the Jamaican international, in goal. In the back, going from left to right, Tony Alfaro, Wahab Akwe, and Palermo Ortiz. In the midfield, a change at wingbacks, both wingbacks for El Paso. Gabby Torres, the former Phoenix Rising man, will be on the left. Memo Diaz, the hometown kid, will be on the right. The double pivot, Frank DeRoma and Robert Coronado. And up top, the same three from last week, Amando Moreno, who scored one of the equalizers for El Paso Locomotive last week. He'll be joined by Tumi Moshabain in the middle, rather on the right, and Beto Avila down the middle. A 3-4-3 for El Paso. And Reese, you want to talk about Amando Moreno, a guy who was on the USL Team of the Week?
I mean, he opened the season very good with that goal. I thought that there were times, though, he was a little too aggressive in his shot taking. There were a few times when Beto Avila, as well as Tumi Moshabain, were making runs, but he just didn't give the ball. I mean, this is a guy who, when he was with New Mexico United in 2023, had a very good tenure there. He had scored 10 goals and 5 assists, 15 goal contributions. Not bad by any means. Only 6 goals and 1 assist last year in an El Paso team that just, quite frankly, never got out of second gear. If he can hit the mark for El Paso this season, they really do have something special in him.
9 substitutions available for the home side tonight. Sebastian Moore, the backup goalkeeper. Joining him, Alvaro Quesada, Ricky Ruiz, Brian Romero, Andy Cabrera, Wilmer Cabrera's son, Kofi Tomasi, Axel Valdivia, Chapo Vasquez, and Daniel Carter. So we talked about it earlier, Reese, a Phoenix Rising side that kept 68% of possession against FC Tulsa last week, and yet only managed 7 shots, 3 shots on target, and only 1 big chance overall in the match. Tulsa on the other side, 8 total shots, 5 shots on target, and 3 big chances. So even though Rising is having a lot of this possession, they still got to go attack the net and try to get those goals. How do they do so, and how do they move around the pitch today?
Well, there just needs to be off-ball movement. They need to pass the ball and create third-man runs, just build space by their own means. Against Tulsa, Tulsa did a good job of limiting their midfield, but that's because Tulsa came out in a more defensive approach compared to what I think El Paso will come out tonight with. Against Colorado Springs, El Paso was more willing to attack, and when Colorado Springs does attack, or when El Paso rather attacks, Rising need to take advantage of the 2 wingbacks for El Paso, pushing up, catch them out of transition, which is something that El Paso struggled with last season, which we'll get into certainly later on.
And El Paso, a team like Rising, had a middling 2024, much below average. 32 points last year for the home side tonight, dead last in the Western Conference. The only team worse than them, the Miami FC in the Eastern Conference. Overall for Locomotive, the worst record in club history, only 27 goals scored. So they had to make a change, and it comes with Ray Sari named the new technical director, the first person to hold that position that's separate from the head coaching role. He's also working as an assistant under now permanent head coach Wilmer Cabrera, who was in after the interim role last year, kind of instated around that June matchup against Phoenix Rising last year. A lot of new additions to the squad as well. We talked about it earlier, starting today. Beto Avila, Alvaro Quesada on the bench, Daniel Carter as well, and then Frank DeRoma, one of their number 8s overall. So overall, Reese, when you look at El Paso, it's a new side, and there's a lot to like about this team as they try to regain their momentum in 2025.
It's a new side in terms of 8, but it also isn't. They have a lot of familiar faces. 8 of the 11 starters from last week were here last year, but 3 of those 8 came in mid-season. They made moves mid-season. They also brought in guys like you mentioned, Beto Avila, who had a very good season at Sporting KC2. He also played in this league with Charleston. I don't know if he's a true number 9. He seems like he can drift wide, which works perfectly with Moshabain as they kind of move off each other. They drift into the space that the other one isn't. They also brought in Frank Lopez from Miami FC, who was really one of the few bright spots in a Miami FC team that really you can't even say was a team. They were that bad at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. He had scored 7 goals in 24 appearances. He's also a familiar face to Wilmer Cabrera. He played for Wilmer at RGV. So it's good to keep that familiarity. You see quite a lot of it. It's similar to Pamuduka, where they brought in players from their previous stops.
Roughly 10 to 15 minutes from kickoff between Phoenix Rising and El Paso Locomotive. Again, we talked about Phoenix Rising, a 1-0 loss to Tulsa last week. For El Paso Locomotive, a 2-2 draw, but granted it was against Colorado Springs Switchbacks, the defending champs, a game where it really pinball back and forth, but overall Colorado Springs had the momentum early with the penalty kick. Within the first 2 minutes by Marco Micheletto, El Paso responded in the 43rd minute, courtesy of Amando Moreno, who will be on the left wing tonight. Before the visitors that day took another lead, and then it was Wilmer Cabrera Jr. with the equalizer in stoppage time. A pinball game, as I mentioned before, as El Paso is yet to lead in 2024. And again, we talked about this Locomotive side overall. We talked about the midfield, we talked about a front three and a defense that is trying to do better in the transition phases. What stands out to you, Reese, as the biggest thing amongst those?
I mean, just the transition defense, they looked really good against Colorado Springs, bar one moment, which is how Colorado Springs scored their second goal. It's really through Tony Alfaro at that center back role. He's much more of a stay at home. He's going to stay at that left side. He's not going to take the ball in possession and move forward with it like Wahab Akwe does, like Arturo Ortiz does. Those two move forward, or rather than Alfaro, who stays home. That allows them to have someone back, the two wing backs. If they get caught out, they really did a good job of sending guys like Frank DeRoma and Robert Coronado in the midfield back. The one time they didn't is when Colorado Springs scored that second goal, which did take a nasty deflection, but still, it's those little blips, those little mistakes that cost El Paso versus Colorado Springs on the opening weekend.
El Paso overall 2 wins, 5 losses, and 3 draws against Phoenix Rising all time. They are 1-1-2 with 1 win, 1 loss, 2 draws at home against Phoenix Rising. Those last 2 draws were coming up in the past 2 meetings. You're listening to the Phoenix Rising pregame warm-up. When we come back, we'll give you your keys to the game.
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hello?
Man, where are you? I thought you were coming.
I can't. I'm in bed with the flu.
The flu? Whoa. Grandma's about to crowd surf. Man, I'll call you back.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is safe, effective, and you can get it at the same time as your COVID-19 vaccine. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
We're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Back here on the Phoenix Rising pregame warm-up, just roughly 10 minutes, maybe less than 10 minutes before kickoff between Phoenix Rising and El Paso Locomotive FC. Both teams coming off a middling result. Phoenix Rising losing 1-0 to FC Tulsa. El Paso Locomotive needing a stoppage time goal to tie Colorado Springs Switchbacks 2-2 today. Mahirson Hassan, Reese Goodall, back with you in the bunker back in Phoenix. A blustery night in El Paso. Temperatures dipping to around 50, gusts expected to around 30 miles per hour. And Reese, it's going to make for an interesting game today for Phoenix Rising and El Paso. What do both teams have to do today to get the win?
For Rising, I think the main key for them is just be tidy when they have the ball. We saw in Tulsa's lone goal that they made a mistake passing out the back. Patrick Rakowski passed it to Carl Saint, and Saint was immediately dispossessed. A pass that Rakowski probably shouldn't have made. If you're not going to be able to create chances at the level you really should be, you need to defend well and not give El Paso any free opportunities. And although we mentioned, and for El Paso, although we mentioned that they're better in transition, they need to just be able to limit Rising when they look to counter themselves and not allow Rising to get into the final third and get shots off against Jamali Wade in this defense. 2 goals in each of the past 2 games between these two sides, a 1-1 draw on June 15th, a 2-0 victory in favor of Phoenix Rising on July 19th. 22 players on the pitch. Reese, you want to talk about 2 players who share the same position for both sides, the 8 for Phoenix, Noble Okello, and the 8 for El Paso, Frank DeRoma. Well, they're 2 players that play very similar roles. They both are a box-to-box midfielder. They both very good defensively and both very good when joining the attack. We saw Okello enter the attack a few times for Rising in the last 20-30 minutes against Tulsa, and that's where Rising found the bulk of their chances. For DeRoma, he's a former Las Vegas Lights player, so you may recognize the name from there. Spent the last couple years with Tacoma Defiance. He is very tidy on the ball, but he also wins a lot of duels. And I forgot to point out one of the main things between those two is the height difference. It's about a foot difference between the two. Noble Okello listed at 6'5", Frank DeRoma listed at 5'4". So you're not real. They're playing the same role, but they're very different in terms of their stature.
Yeah, very different in terms of their stature. That's a 13-inch height difference, and we usually don't see that on the pitch that much. Okello, one of the tallest players for Phoenix Rising. DeRoma, one of the shortest players for El Paso overall. And again, 2 guys that can get it done in different ways. Okello, 13 passes in the final third last week, led the team in that category. 3 for 4 on aerial duels as well, something that you may or may not see in an 8, depending on which team you look at. And Frank DeRoma on the other side, also on the USL Team of the Week in assist last week against Colorado Springs, assisting Moreno's goal in the 43rd minute. Went 9 for 10 on duels overall as well. Reese, it's kind of an interesting matchup when you look at it. How many times might you see Okello and DeRoma really facing each other in today's match?
I think anytime one team goes forward, the other one's going to be chasing the other one. I think Okello, we saw him go forward so much in the preseason. We didn't see it as much, as I said earlier, until those last 30 minutes. For DeRoma, he's pushing forward so much. As in that second goal for Colorado Springs, I talked about it earlier, he was kind of caught out. He was still pushing on the attack. It's just how attacking the 2 players are going to play. I think they're both going to be so focused on helping their team build up that the other one is going to just chase the other one. I mean, that's just kind of the role of the box-to-box. You see him attack, you see him defend as well.
Kind of a cat and mouse thing there if you look at the other person chasing the other person. But nonetheless, both of these guys wearing the number 8 for their respective sides. Noble Okello for Phoenix Rising, Frank DeRoma for El Paso Locomotive. When we come back, we'll give you kickoff from Southwest University Park, the 11th all-time meeting between Phoenix Rising and El Paso Locomotive, the second game of the season for both sides. It's coming up right here on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hello?
Man, where are you? I thought you were coming.
I can't. I'm in bed with the flu.
The flu? Whoa. Grandma's about to crowd surf. Man, I'll call you back.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is safe, effective, and you can get it at the same time as your COVID-19 vaccine. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
We're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm just texting him back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Let's get into the action. Phoenix Rising Soccer, live now on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
A blustery night in the Borderlands between two teams looking to rebound from last year's follies. Phoenix Rising FC and El Paso Locomotive, two teams looking for their first win of 2025. Both teams looking to improve from 2024. Good evening, everyone. Alongside Reese Goodall, I'm Mihir Sanhasan. We're moments away from kickoff from Southwest University Park, a chilly night in El Paso as temperatures are dipping to around 50 degrees and gusts are going from crosswind right now, 30 miles per hour. So we talked about it earlier, Reese, not necessarily affecting either side, but it could be effective overall on goal kicks. El Paso with only 2 shots allowed last week. Phoenix Rising only 7 shots in the entire match. A series that goes in favor of Phoenix Rising, but the Red and Black have yet to win in El Paso in nearly 6 years. And Reese, this is a Phoenix Rising side that will be facing one of its former teammates today in Gabby Torres, set to start up on the left wing in place of Ricky Ruiz, who was in that spot last week. Ricky Ruiz currently on the bench. But Gabby Torres, again, 52 games played, 4 goals with Phoenix Rising from September of 2022 to January of 2025. The first instance this season where we're seeing kind of necessarily a homecoming, but also a visit down memory lane for Phoenix Rising.
Gabby Torres, I mean, he was a good servant to this club. He struggled with injuries at times, but I think most people will remember Gabby Torres for him coming into the side in 2022, when Rising weren't very good. He came in and immediately electrified the squad with 3 goals in 4 games to round out that season for a team that was going to miss the playoffs. It was certified by that point. But he also then kind of grew into, he was moved back from being that forward role, which we saw in 2022, to more of a left back, but he still managed to be at the top of Rising's chance creators. He created 22 last season for a Rising attack that really just couldn't create many at all. So he really was a good servant to the club, and now it's good to see him still playing in this league, playing for El Paso now.
Still playing for this league, and the technical director for El Paso Locomotive, Ray Sar, is saying earlier, quote, his pace and quality service will be another great addition to our attack. We saw that service last week in the 23 minutes put up against Colorado Springs, also a shot in the process as well. Across in stoppage time, knocked down by Daniel Carter, laid off towards Wilmer Cabrera Jr., scoring off the bench in the 90th minute and the 2nd minute of stoppage time overall. Players are on the pitch right now. El Paso set to kick off in what is known as their graffiti kits today. As you can see, graffiti on the right side of the jersey, and then the sponsor and the crest on the left side and front-facing side overall. El Paso working from right to left in the light blue tops, light blue shorts, and light blue socks. Phoenix Rising going with their 2nd kit, the road kit, which will be black tops, white shorts, black socks with a red stripe just below the ankles. A 3-4-3 for El Paso Locomotive, a 4-3-3 for Phoenix Rising. The 2nd matchup of the season. Jimmy Moshabane currently in the center circle. He'll be kicking this one off. And we're underway from Southwest University Park as El Paso gets the ball first, going from right to left. Gabby Torres pips it up, headed up and away by Pop Marboy, still in the attacking third as El Paso pressures, ball jiggling around, picked up by Traore, brought down to the box, laid off, looking for Torres, and Colin Smith will clear it away for Phoenix Rising. Off the head of Remy Cabral, dashing out towards the left side. Heels on the touchline for Damian Rivera, bustling down that far side. Fouled in the process, and Ilhern a free kick for Phoenix Rising, moving from left to right.
A really good dribble there from Damian Rivera, who was really one of the few bright spots for Rising in their attack last week. Ryan Flood provided him with some good service. He made the most of it, but just couldn't quite get the ball in the back of the net. He really, unlike Remy Cabral, Formella, Isan Sako, those guys who had come in, he contributed to Rising in the final third.
Just within a minute of this matchup, Hope Avievu to take the free kick on the left wing, roughly 30 to 35 yards out. Socks rolled down, bright red and black socks for Avievu. Players lined up at the edge of the 18, a one-man wall for El Paso. Right-footed ball into the box, leaning towards the back post, flipped in by Formella. Nobody able to get a touch to it. Avievu recollects on the left wing, parallel to the 18, dancing around, lifts this into the box. It's past everybody. Formella with the chance on that far post. A dangerous shot, cross, whatever you want to call it, Reese, but Rising with a good chance early.
It was a great chance, a good ball in from Hope Avievu. Just couldn't quite tell how the deflection came from off of Formella's shot. It almost looked like Remy Cabral was the one to clear it off the line. Obviously wasn't, but good that Rising are getting on the attack early in this one, something they really didn't do against Tulsa, and that's something we'll just keep going back to all night.
Jamali Wade to take the free kick for El Paso, and he will send this into the air. High towards the attacking third for El Paso, working the center part of the pitch. Now the left half space with Gabby Torres. Torres around his former teammate Formella and back towards Tony Alfaro. Alfaro towards Acque. Acque towards Palermo Ortiz. Ortiz picked up by Rivera with the high press. And here comes Rising again. Rivera around Ortiz, goes down, and it's a free kick And our referee for today, Colin Radosov, will go to check up on Rivera. Radosov, your referee today, is assistants Matthew Schwartz and Sunyinka Kahinde, and the fourth official on the near touch, or far touchline, I should say, Mohamed Kalea.
Damian Rivera there causing more chaos. Arturo Ortiz as that right center back, he struggled against Colorado Springs when he was pressed in that match. The switchbacks didn't do it often, but when they did, Ortiz struggled. I wonder if Rising is going to attack him on that left side with Damian Ortiz. Maybe Remy Cabral shifts over, Hope Avayevu steps up. Rising should be able to press him and cause some chaos as they just did.
So Avayevu currently once again on the left wing. Moreno and DeRoma, the two-man wall for El Paso, just a little bit towards the right. Players entering into the box for Phoenix Rising. Avayevu whistle blows, directs it in. It's cleared away immediately. Back towards Avayevu, and his shot flutters well wide right of the goal, right towards that corner flag. It stayed on the end line, so it will be a goal kick for El Paso. In the 4th minute of play from Southwest University Park, it's El Paso 0 and Phoenix Rising 0.
Rising attacking the side of the baseball field in this first half. I'm sure that they're glad that that is in the first half rather than the second, because in the second now you have that true grass, the same surface all over. You don't have to worry about the ball bobbling as much as you do in the first.
Another instance where El Paso just turns the ball over. Phoenix Rising with the ball. Harvey Neville in his first appearance in red and black. 2 hands above his head, the ball grasped above him. Just plays it down the line. Cleared out by Memo Diaz, and another chance here for Harvey Neville, the son of Phil, the English legend. Neville plays this back towards a check-in Akello. Akello plays it towards Traore and back towards Pop Marboy in the center circle. He'll see it out towards the right half space and slides it looking towards Darius Formella. Cut out by Torres, and another throw-in for Rising. Quickly taken by Smith. Try to loft it up towards Cabral, and they'll play that ball back and redo the throw-in.
Smith there just took a few extra steps, kind of ran as he threw it, and Radosov rightly calls that one back.
So Smith now plays it back towards Marboy. He slides it over towards his fellow Senegal native, Mo Traore, and now towards Neville again in the 5th minute of play. Out towards Avayevu. Space to work for him, cut away by El Paso. Home side trying to go on the attack here with Avila. Avila plays it forward towards Traore. He cuts it away and plays it back towards Patrick Rakowski, his first touches of the day, as we are officially 5 minutes through from Southwest University Park.
It's going to be interesting to see how Harvey Neville plays at that left back spot. He's naturally a right back, so will he invert like how the left backs have looked in preseason, or will he be more of a typical fullback in that role?
Laid out towards the right, Diaz whips this into the box, skipping its way through, and it just goes wide left. Tumi Moshabane in the area, but it seemed like Mo Traore got his left peg to it, and it was just seen wide. A corner kick coming up for El Paso on the near side.
In good service there from the former Oakland Roots player, leads the team in appearances. Not good enough to get to Moshabane, but good to threaten this Rising defense. But El Paso last week against Colorado Springs, they looked really good on set pieces. They couldn't find a goal off one, but the service, the movement was good. I'm intrigued to see, will they be able to crack Rising's defense in this one with that.
Ball whipped in from the near side, played in, controlled, headed up by Smith. A rebound is in the net. Right off the touch, it's Beto Avila with a slicing masterpiece from 8 yards out. Jumps for joy from the El Paso crowd on this cool night, and in the 7th minute of play, it's El Paso Locomotive 1, Phoenix Rising 0.
Well, I just mentioned that El Paso looked good on set pieces last weekend. They showed some class here on this one. Rising left a man unmarked at the back post, and when the ball got circled around, Rising were just found chasing. Couldn't do anything there for Beto Avila, putting it home. Just a good set piece from El Paso despite the chaos.
Not exactly a volley, but you could call it a half volley. Took it right out of the air, sliced it into the left part of the net. Patrick Rakowski a little shuffle to his right, but not enough to stop the rocket from Avila. Beto Avila, who comes over from Sporting Kansas City 2, the Austin native back in his home state. His first goal with his new club. Phoenix Rising kicks it off, and after a couple of attacks in the attacking third, They now once again find themselves down 1-0. A similar story to what we saw last week against FC Tulsa as the ball bounces off of Colin Radosov, the referee. Play continues on for Rising as it switched over towards Harvey Neville just outside of the defensive third. Controls it and now plays it back towards Traore.
Now it's key for Rising to just build back into this game. Last week against Tulsa, they just waited and waited. It took a long time for them. It was about 30 minutes in between shots, and in the second half, need to get something going early in this first half after conceding so early.
8th minute of play, El Paso 1, Phoenix 0. Beto Avila, a guy who's come over from Sporting Kansas City 2, one of the new additions to this El Paso side, as once again Rising finds themselves trailing. Towards Marboy and over towards Neville. Left half space just beyond the center circle. Looking towards his left and pops it over towards Avayevu. El Paso unbeaten in the last 5 when scoring first. Phoenix Rising trying to get a come-from-behind win, only one of its sorts last year on October 9th against New Mexico. Smith plays it down the line, too far for Avayevu as Alfaro sees it out for a goal kick on the near side.
That's quite impressive that El Paso has that 5-game unbeaten run when scoring first, especially for a team that they were only better than one other team in the USL Championship last season, and that was Miami FC, the Miami FC, who was one of the worst teams in USL history. El Paso did poach a couple of their guys, Frank Lopez on the bench, but that's just a shocking record in my eyes.
9th minute of play, as it seems like players are heading over towards the bench. Again, Ramadan going right now, so a lot of these players getting food for the first time in a few hours as both teams head towards the bench. El Paso in their graffiti kits today in the light blue tops, light blue shorts, and light blue socks. Phoenix Rising in the black tops, white shorts, black socks with the red stripe on top. A couple of the players, Traore and Marboy, practicing Ramadan, getting some food on the touchlines. Well, we're nearly 10 minutes through, Reese, and it's a similar situation for Phoenix Rising, down 1-0, and after they started the game on the attack, how do they try to get out of that hole and try to equalize the game?
I think they need Hope Avayevu and Noble Okello, those two, to really step up and get going. Avayevu was very good against Tulsa last week, but it was just too much ball chasing, in my opinion, both defensively and when Rising had the ball. I think if he can find his place on the pitch, find his zones, he will get the ball naturally and be able to create. I mean, that's what he did for North Texas under Ka. If he can do that again for Rising this year, I think he'll have something special from the former Next Pro talent.
Beto Avila was the lone goal scorer in this one, playing on the right-hand side with a couple of players who are relatively close towards El Paso. Mondo Moreno on the left and Tumi Bonshabane down the center. Now a goal kick for El Paso. Waite puts his right foot through the ball, skying this into the evening air. Traore with a crashing run to head it down, and it's out towards Damian Rivera on the left. Off the turn, Rivera with some space to work. Plays it inside towards Avayevu. Now towards Rivera. Rivera in the box, slices it through, cut away by Ortiz. Palermo Ortiz, the right center back. And it's a corner kick for Phoenix Rising on the far side.
It's just good movement, good for Rising to get into that final third. You're not going to score if you don't get there. They didn't get there last week. Just need to keep pushing the numbers forward, and eventually, some way, somehow, they'll get a goal.
Avayevu lifts it in for Marboy, and he couldn't get ahead to it. Ball trickles near side. Neville can't get to it, and the player down for El Paso Locomotive is Tony Alfaro. Alfaro being checked on by Jamali Waite. And Waite just hanging down right now as we get a replay of it in the bunker today. As Alfaro, it seemed like in contact with Marboy, who was going over the top of him, and Alfaro nicked from behind in the head and neck area.
It did not look like that felt good at all. The way Marboy just had collided into Alfaro's there. I'm a bit surprised he's up as soon as he is. I know if that was me in that spot, I would be down on the ground for probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes. What about you, Mahir?
Yeah, I'd probably be in that similar situation too. Center back's getting a lot of physical challenges. I actually played center back, interestingly enough. Was I good at center back? Relatively good. Like to head the ball. Not something you see a lot among 7th and 8th graders. 13th minute of play. El Paso 1, Phoenix Rising 0. Jamali Waite, another goal kick for him, soaring this out towards the attacking third. Knotted down by Noble Okello of Phoenix Rising. Smith trying to poke his way forward and earns the free kick.
So what you're saying is your footballing career peaked in middle school?
Safely. Safe to say, yeah. Yeah. But if it wasn't for me peaking in middle school, I wouldn't be here. If it peaked in
That's
high
true.
school or college, well, who knows?
You could be out there.
For all you know. Back with Rising on the far side, in the midfield, back towards El Paso. Okello's scrapping his way through and trying to keep it in play on the far touchline. Instead, gives it off towards Locomotive for a throw-in. Down the line, completely down the line, trying to play it towards Avila. And it's a goal kick for Rising. So far, El Paso with 0.08 expected goals. Phoenix Rising with 0.02. One shot on target for El Paso, and it's been the only goal of the day courtesy of Avila. 14th minute of Rising throw-in coming up here.
Like Noble Okello and Wilmer Cabrera were having a conversation there. The two looked a wave. I wonder what they were talking about.
Rakowski plays this off towards Traore in the defensive third. Traore looking up, plays it short towards Carl Saints. Off the turn towards Formella. Formella in the defensive third. Plays it back towards Traore. Sees it out towards Neville. Phoenix Rising in an all too similar position. Down 1-0. We're chasing the game last week. Could not get an equalizer in 65 minutes of play. They've been down for a while now, courtesy of Avila in the 6th minute. El Paso struggling to get back into the attacking third as Traore tries to knife his way through the offense, plays it up the line, and it's pipped forward towards Rivera. He's chasing the ball. Wahab Akwe gets to it, plays it back towards Wade, and his one-time ball takes us out of the attacking third for Rising, and it's a throw-in for the visitors.
Paso have done a very good job putting pressure on Rising's back line, but also Carl Saint. Whenever Carl Saint's gotten the ball, feels like everyone in El Paso is surrounding him. Frank DeRoma, of course, there. Robert Coronado, of course, there. They're putting pressure, forcing bad passes from Rising's midfield.
Back with Traore, lifts the ball forward over Moreno. Smith having to track back on the near side, plays it back towards Marboy. Defensive third for Phoenix Rising is their goalkeeper, Patrick Rakowski, in the all-green kit today with a black long-sleeve shirt underneath. Plays it towards Traore. Traore trying to direct the offense right now and plays it back towards the German Rakowski. 16th minute of play. Marboy coaxing a player forward. Deflected away, it's back with El Paso. Moreno can't get the pass off the turn. Deflected out towards Moshe Bain. Dancing in the end line, now in the 18 on Traore. Traore poking his way through along with Smith, who gets the ball outside of the 18 near side and lofts this forward, looking towards Cabral, a little bit too far, and Waite will call off Alfaro. He'll scoop it up within his 18. Locomotive up 1-0 against Phoenix Rising. Similar to the first matchup between these two teams last year, which was Eric Calvillo, who scored in the 13th minute, Panos Armanakis with the equalizer in the 82nd minute for Phoenix Rising. One of his final games in red and black before being dealt to Memphis 901 FC. Long ball by Traore, too far for a running Smith, who was essentially on the forwards line as it went out on the near end line. And another goal kick for Jamali Waite. He's seen a lot of that today so far. Still looking for his first save of the season going into today, Jamali Waite from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but a Jamaican international, 13 games played for that country. The starting goalkeeper in the Copa America last year as well. Plays it short towards Alfaro, short towards Torres. Torres, pressured by Smith, gets it back towards Formella. Played out towards Avievo in the right half space. Now towards Formella in the 18. His first cross blocked away. Plays it off towards Smith. His cross deflected up in the air, headed down by Cabral. And there's Jamali Waite's first save of the day right into his hands. 17th minute of play. It is still El Paso 1, Phoenix 0.
Rising, they're committing numbers forward. Talked about that earlier in this game. They're doing it now. It's with the way that El Paso has been willing to press Rising when the Rising are pinned deep, Rising need to build forward and commit numbers. Doing it there, Remy Cabral has a shot, not good enough to get it past Jamali Waite, but Waite, one of the better keepers, you need to do a lot to get it past him.
Ball bouncing, far side, Okello trying to get a touch to it, and it was last off him as it went out just close towards the El Paso bench. Wilmer Cabrera in the black oversized jacket, black pants, and black shoes with the white soles. His team plays it down the line off the throw-in. Ball sky high in the air. Traore winning the aerial duel, but brought down by El Paso and now won back by Rising. Possession now firmly in the grasp of Locomotive. Moreno slides this out towards Diaz. Diaz with space to work plays it down the line towards Avila, the goal scorer. Avila plays it towards Moshabane, whiffed on the shot. It's still in the area and cleared away by backtracking Formella.
Formella there did a very good job backtracking, as you said there. Gabby Torres had just free real estate on that left wing. Rising weren't marking him. Colin Smith wasn't there. Formella recognized that, sprinted back, and was able to intervene there and prevent a second goal for this Locomotive side.
So a throw in now for Gabby Torres, the former Phoenix Rising player. Lofted out Coronado, left-footed ball floating towards the back post. Can't find Avila. Neville scrambling to get it, and it was last touched by El Paso. What it seems like right now is Neville jogs back towards the box. It will actually be a corner kick on the far side of the pitch. 19th minute of play. Locomotive trying to double its lead right now. Avila breaking the deadlock in the 6th minute. It's Diaz to take this on the far side. Popmar Boy, the captain for Phoenix Rising, trying to make sure that his teammates are on a man right now. Diaz will walk away from the ball. This will be a left-footed service on the right-hand side on a blustery night in El Paso. Torres, two hands in the air, brings it down and plays it short towards Diaz. Diaz, right-footed ball in, clipped its way through the box, off the turn for Avila, deflected by Okello, make that Saint, and Neville will slide it out towards the far side to make this a throw-in for Locomotive.
Paso again causing chaos on these corners. Rising had trouble with it last year. They're having trouble again with this El Paso team this year. Just one man loses a guy, and then everyone's trying to make up for that player, and it's just chaos in the penalty area.
Short throw in again by Diaz, straddling the line towards the 18, and inside of it Avila lost real estate, and it's a goal kick for Rakowski. Taken quickly after getting to it, and Rakowski not the ideal part. It actually went all the way back towards Wade, and now they'll have to redo the goal kick. Rakowski got the ball from the ball boy right behind his net and basically rolled it out, but it wasn't on the 6-yard box, so he has to redo it as Colin Radosova, referee today, talks with Avila. Now the goal kick's taken short for Rising. Rakowski, a simple tap towards Traore. We're 20 minutes through here from Southwest University Park. It's El Paso Locomotive 1, Phoenix Rising 0, courtesy of a 6th-minute volley by Beto Avila just within the 18. Long ball played forward, looking towards Cabral. Back to goal, receives it. Now making a cut, trying to slalom his way through. Cut away by El Paso, and to add some insult to Cabral's attack, he'll also be called for the foul as Diaz regains his footing, and we're on the free kick for Locomotive.
With such good service there from Mo Traore to find Remy Cabral, but Cabral's touch just failed him. He had runners forward on the left and down the middle, but wasn't able to get a pass off and ends up losing it and then fouling Memo Diaz.
Traore trying to shield off Moshabane, plays it back towards Rakowski, bouncing ball. Rakowski sends this out on the far touchline just beyond El Paso's bench. And another throw-in for Locomotive right now. Again, a Phoenix Rising side that started out with all the momentum in the world. They were pressing an El Paso side that had allowed a goal 2 minutes in. It was actually a penalty 2 minutes in. The foul called within 45 seconds of play. Phoenix Rising took that tactic, tried to make it their own, could not get a shot off, and El Paso's first shot on target, courtesy of Avila, went into the back of the net. 22nd minute of play. Mahir Hassan and Reese Goodall back with you from the bunker on this Saturday evening. Thanks for tuning in to the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Neville there gets called for stepping a little too far on that throw-in. It's not the first time Rising has had one of its fullbacks get called for that. It feels like the second or third time already in the early goings of this match.
Ball went out El Paso touched it last. Okello flicks this back towards Neville, and he'll take the throw-in very close to Wilmer Cabrera's coach's box. He's giving some orders towards his players as Neville pops this down the line, shielded away by Akwe. Okello calling for the ball, and he will get the ball. Another throw-in for Rising, as once again, Neville works down the line. Pa Motoka right next to him in the black jacket and a gray dress shirt, just beckoning at some of his players right now. A couple of touches towards Rivera, towards Cabral, back towards Damian Rivera, whose shot is deflected and it goes out on the far end line. A corner kick coming up here for Rising. First shot in a while we've seen from Damian Rivera, and that too inside the 18 for the visitors.
Rivera, though, when he gets that ball, he does make the most of it. Just feels like time and time again, whether it's getting fouled or actually getting a shot off there. It was a good combination play from Remy Cabral that led to that shot. Now leads to some more set-piece chaos. Now can Rising get a taste of that chaos themselves?
The possible catalyst for the chaos, Hope Avievu on the far corner right now. He's got his right hand taped up, mainly around his wrist area. As players float around the 18-yard box, wait in the all-purple, waiting the corner kick coming up as the winds continue to blow in El Paso. Whistle blows, Avievu with the ball sky high as Marboy heads it up. Traore bounces it down, and it's cleared away by Moshe Bain and El Paso, only as far as Saint, who retrieves it and sends it out towards Smith in the right half space. Pop forward, trying to find Avievu on the left. Avievu cutting his way through, and Memo Diaz volleys a clearance out towards Pa Motoka, and Rising has another throw-in.
Good touch there by Avievu to be inside off Memo Diaz, but it was a little too heavy, ends up losing the ball. Rising can't make the most of those opportunities in the final third.
Here comes another attack by El Paso. Good cutaway by Traore as Moreno tried to start that counterattack. Just on the edge of the attacking third as Traore left-footed diagonal, trying to find Rivera, headed down by Diaz, and it's back towards Waite. 25th minute of play, El Paso 1, Phoenix 0. Torres, the former Phoenix Rising player, pops it forward towards Moreno, trying to juggle it near side. Lost control, back with Rising. Smith plays it towards Formella. It's now his turn to juggle. Smith towards Avievu on the right. Avievu cross deflected, trying to find Cabral, kicked away by Akwe, only as far as a headed Traore. Ball continues to bounce relatively around the midfield / attacking third for Rising, and Colin Radosov will blow his whistle. It will be a free kick for Locomotive.
Mo Traore has attempted a lot of long balls from that left center back spot. We've seen some very good passing ability from him in the past in his first 2 seasons with him here at Rising, but they weren't really that type of long ball. It was more like on the ground, creative, creating chances for Rising, not this just long ball out of the back that we're seeing tonight.
Popped out towards the right, and not the best touch by Diaz, who tried to square towards Avila. Throw in for Rising. It's Neville again. Opting for the short sleeves on a blustery night in the border lanes. Pops it down the line. Pipped up. Cabral trying to take it. Guarded by Akwe. No foul called in the process. Back with El Paso. Ball bouncing its way around the pitch. It finds the middle for Coronado, who dribbles this over towards Torres on the left. Back towards the left center back, Tony Alfaro. Pipping its way through towards Coronado, and back again towards Alfaro, and Gabby Torres once again with nearly two and a half years with Phoenix Rising. Back on the attack here, Locomotive playing it down the line and can't find Moreno as Rakowski scoops it up.
Paso had a huge gap, or Rising did rather, on that right back side. El Paso's left attacking side. Hope Avievu just really didn't drop down to mark Gabby Torres, and Colin Smith had to shift up. Pop Marboy was almost tasked with marking 2 guys at one time. Rising are going to need to sort things out defensively to limit the chances for this Locomotive team.
Rakowski outside of his 18 slides it towards Neville, now in the center part of the pitch. And now further left towards Traore. Traore looking up pitch again, blocked by the back of Avila, and now decides to play it back towards Rakowski. Rakowski with a few touches. His green kit, all green kit, just a few shades darker than the pitch today. Long ball played forward, headed back by Ortiz, right into the waiting hands of Waite, who immediately rolls it over towards Alfaro. Alfaro towards Torres. El Paso with the ball, just at the edge of their defensive third as Akwe gets control just beyond his 18. Now on the right side with Ortiz, gets past one Rising player but not another, as Rivera trying to chase a through ball on the left side, can't get to it in time. Probably 4 or 5 paces off. 28th minute of play, it is still El Paso 1, Phoenix Rising 0.
Rising were finally given an opportunity to press this El Paso backline, and they were able to win the ball as a result. Yes, the ball went a little too long for Damian Rivera, but it's nice to see Rising's press finally get going and win the ball off this El Paso backline.
So it's Wade inside the 18, calling out for orders. Locomotive with the breakthrough in the 6th minute, courtesy of Beto Avila, the Sporting KC 2 transfer from MLS Next Pro. Rakowski, long ball out towards the left, a little too high for Aveyevu, and it goes out for an El Paso throw-in.
Again, another long ball from this Rising team, whether it's from their defenders or from Patrick Rakowski in goal. I'm a bit surprised to see that that's been such an emphasis for Rising today, because we spoke about in the pregame, it is cold and it is very windy, so the ball's drifting a little more than you would like. It's just interesting to see Rising do that so much time and time again.
Ball played down the line, some space to work here for El Paso. Moshabane 25 yards out, dancing with the ball, edge of the 18. Toomey Moshabane just sends it wide left, trying to flick it up towards that top corner. Not the most straight of balls, but it's seen wide left, and the goal kick is taken by Rakowski. Now 4 shots on the day for El Paso Locomotive, only 2 for Rising, but the visitors have 59% of possession right now. Formella toppled over, and it's back with the host with Coronado. Out towards Moreno, Marboy scoops it away as Formella remains down on the ground, and now Colin Radosov, the referee, will go check in on him. Darius Formella, his right leg down on the ground, his left leg currently bent as Traore and Marboy come over to talk with Radosov on his decision. Formella also getting a check-in from Coronado, who went in from the back of him on that play.
This is not something you really want to see if you're Pamuduka. With how Rising's team is lacking for fitness at the moment, Jerome Margarita not with the team, Charlie Dennis also not with the team. Really the only 2 attacking options on the bench for Rising today are Emi Cuejo, who really isn't back fully fit for this team, and of course Isan Sako, the number 9, who can play on that right wing. They just don't really have those attacking options if Formella does have to come off, which doesn't look like, as he's back to his feet now.
Pamuduka talked about the physicality and the fitness overall. Said fitness is great when you look at the team and how they're starting off the season, but he did say that he hopes that Jerome Margarita and Emi Cuejo will be back soon. Cuejo on the bench for this one. Margarita not traveling with the team to El Paso, as Pamuduka tried to beckon from the touchlines right now, trying to tell some of his players to show a little bit more energy as the ball is dropped. And we resume play here at Southwest University Park. Tony Alfaro plays it out towards the right-hand side. Ball whipped into the box. Pop Marboy heads it up. It's back out towards the right-hand side for Locomotive. Dancing their way forward, trying to get around Neville, and Neville will see this out for a goal kick.
Neville did a really good job there, just limiting El Paso there, not allowing the ball to be touched once he got beat. Did very good there, especially for a player that isn't naturally a left back. Neville has done a good job through the opening half hour of play.
So back with Coronado and El Paso. Towards Moreno, who was on the USL League Team of the Week last week. Towards Moshabane, cut away by Traore. And it's out for an El Paso corner kick once again. 32nd minute of play. Locomotive playing at home. Drew 2-2 towards Colorado Springs, the defending champs last week. Now up 1-0 against Phoenix Rising here in the 32nd minute. Another corner kick coming for them near side. Left wing for the host as Patrick Rakowski, the visitors' goalkeeper, giving out some orders towards his players. It's going to be Memo Diaz, grew up in Anthony, New Mexico, 30 minutes outside of El Paso, to take this. A little bit of a goatee, minus the mustache for Diaz. Right hand in the air, now brought down. Ball whipped into the box, headed up near side by Marboy, only as far as Torres, who's now on the left wing. Torres resends this in. Another header by Marboy as Rivera skies this into the air. Avayevu trying to bring this down. Rising still in the defensive third. And Hope will earn a throw-in for Phoenix Rising. Gabby Torres trying to argue his case for his now new team. 23 minutes played for him, including what many consider a secondary assist to the equalizer in stoppage time last week. And Avayevu might have gotten away with the handball as well.
Bit of a hockey assist, as you would call it, for Gabby Torres last week. Made an excellent run down the left wing, which we've seen quite a few times in a Rising shirt. Played a ball in, and a bit of chaos in the 18-yard box led to a goal for the Locomotive, which helped them equalize late.
Out on the right-hand side, it's Diaz. Stops his run at the edge of the attacking third, slices this back towards Daroma, and back again towards Palermo Ortiz. Daroma, the Sierra Leone native, plays it back again towards his right center back. El Paso content to work in the triangles on the right side of the pitch. Now playing it forward, off the touch now, going forward, and a chance for Moreno, and it's gone in. Armando Moreno, fresh off a goal last week, scores again this week, sprawling for the ball, trying to get it past Patrick Rakowski. He does, and he slides it into the back of the net. Embraces on the far side of the pitch for El Paso Locomotive in the 34th minute. It's 2-0 to the home side.
Paso has just done such a good job creating chaos when they go forward, and they've been the benefiters of the chaos so far in this one. I mean, I don't even know how Armando Moreno was able to get that ball away from Patrick Rakowski. Was able to get by Pop Marboy, and Rakowski just couldn't get a hold of it, and then Marboy thought that Rakowski had peeled away. Moreno able to slot it home. Just really good job there for Moreno.
Rakowski had it for a half second, lost the ball, and Moreno, upon seeing that the goalkeeper did not have the ball, still decided to go through. Moreno might have turned his left leg towards the ball while Rakowski was holding it, causing the ball to jar loose, and then decided to poke it in. Rakowski, baffled as he should be, as Rising now trails 2-0, their largest deficit of this young season. Free kick coming up for Phoenix now on the near side of the pitch as Colin Smith went down. Pop Marboy trying to see this one out. Now 5 shots, 2 of them on target for El Paso Locomotive. Phoenix Rising with 2 shots, but those 2 shots coming roughly 25-30 minutes ago. Not too much attack going right now for the visiting side. Smith trying to get around Torres. He can't as Torres jars it loose. Played down the left, now in the left half space for Coronado, trying to find an option on the right, and he does, but it's picked off by Neville. Neville off the header, trying to get it towards the play, and he can't. So it's hard to be down 1-0, Reese. It's even tougher to be down 2-0. What's the message from Pa Motoka if you're talking to some players right now, and we'll see in halftime in a few minutes?
Just continue to bring the intensity. The intensity on the Rising's press has led to a few bright moments for this attack. They just need to continue to do that and just continue to move. I'd also point out that they've lost so many guys of El Paso. They've just lost so many runners. They need to find a way to, whoever's not tracking back, Pa Motoka needs to speak that out, notice that, and just limit El Paso from going forward as much as they have been able to.
So free kick for Locomotive. Harvey Neville the culprit, or rather that's Mo Traore who's called for the foul. It was Avila working his way, and it was actually Neville who just came in and tripped him with his right leg. Avila the goal scorer, the first goal scorer of the match in the 6th minute. Mondo Moreno added another one in the 34th. Free kick now for El Paso on the right wing. Just 3 paces away from the touchline. 2-man wall for Phoenix Rising as El Paso sets up inside the box. Ball played short towards Moshe Bain, tried to play it down towards Diaz, and he lost control of it again. And a goal kick for Rising coming up.
Set pieces have clearly been a point of emphasis for Wilmer Cabrera in preseason. It's another time that they've threatened. That one, Gabby Torres took it so quickly, felt before Rising were even ready. Wasn't able to get a shot on target, but still they're threatening when they have these set plays.
Avievu checks this in towards Saints as the ball pinballs its way towards Traore in the center circle and out towards Marboy on the right. Just past the timeline, Marboy sends this down towards Akello. Working on the right, backheels it towards Torres. It's picked off again by El Paso. Nice short pass play by Locomotive as Saint is called for the foul on Daroma. Daroma, the 5'4" Freetown Sierra Leone native, went 9 for 10 on duels last week. Reese, that was your players to watch, or one of the players to watch for El Paso Locomotive in this game. Not too many touches for Daroma, but he has found some spaces to operate.
He's also been very key to El Paso pressing Carl Saint on Rising's, or when Rising have possession. El Paso's press as a whole has really done a good job of limiting Mo Traore and Harvey Neville. Daroma's really been a key piece to that as well.
Here comes El Paso again in the 18. Moreno dancing his way around, guarded by Marboy. Marboy shoves him off as Rivera now has the ball, plays it back towards Neville, and Neville sends this back in towards the midfield. Only as far as some waiting El Paso Locomotive players, and now picked up again by Saint. Saint plays this down the line, and it's picked off by El Paso once again. Not too much work to do for Tony Alfaro, Wahab Akwe, and Palermo Ortiz. The 3 center back pairing for El Paso today. Out on the right side, it's Darius Formella. Formella lifts his head up, clips this in. Akwe with a nice header outside of the box. Akello redirects this in. Torres trying to shield it away from Smith, and Torres going to ground will concede the corner kick.
When Rising won the ball to start that attack, they had numbers forward. Instead, they opted to slow it down. I'm a bit surprised to see that decision made from Rising. I think they would be much more successful in the attack if they went full intensity like they have in the press, but go forward with it instead of slowing it down and just being more methodical there.
Nearly 39 minutes through. Phoenix Rising down 2-0 to El Paso Locomotive in the first road test in the Pa Motoka era. Hope Avievu, the right-footed player from Haiti, going to take this corner kick as the assistant referee walks away from the ball. This one coming in from the right wing as the right hand goes down, lifted into the box, headed up by Locomotive, only as far as Neville in the 18, back out towards Hope on the right. Hope cuts away from Daroma, left-footed ball in, headed away by Locomotive. Deft defense from the home side as Rising will have a throw-in in the attacking third, once again on the near side of the pitch.
Service there just wasn't quite good enough to build anything with so many numbers in the box for both teams. Now Rising give it up and just failing to capitalize when they get into the final third has been just a theme for this team so far.
Here's Tumi Moshabane trying to slide it out towards Diaz. Diaz able to get it after Pop Marboy whiffed on the clearance. Now setting up their attack, El Paso, as Coronado plays this out on the right side. Looking for some options, it's Ortiz, as Ortiz trying to dance around Rivera, trying to put his head on a swivel, and Diaz's ball, or make that Ortiz's ball, goes right back towards Patrick Rakowski. 41st minute of play, short roll by Rakowski. Not the best day for him, not the best start of the season for him. Listed as the goalkeeper ahead of Tristan Henry, the 3-time Canadian Premier League champion who comes over from Memphis 901 FC.
Rakowski just a better shot stopper than Henry, but Henry offers a little bit more as distribution side of things. Not nearly the level of Rocco Rios Novo by any means, but that's just been interesting to see why Rakowski was chosen over Tristan Henry.
Rakowski now 25, 30 yards away from his goal. We got Traore completely behind him as he plays it towards Akello. So he's now taken full approach and the full ambition to try to build out of the back here for Rising. Traore clips this over towards Formella. First touch a little high in the air. Second touch brings it down, trying to find Avievu. Cut out. Back with Torres, who's seen a lot of the ball today. Torres clips this down towards Moreno off the chest, and out towards Moshabane again. Moshabane trying to get around Traore, and Traore arguing it was last touched off of his attacker. And it was. Back in with Rising in the 42nd minute. Akello plays this off, going out towards the middle. It's Avievu, Saint, and Akello, the midfield for Pa Motoka, the same midfield that started against FC Tulsa last week. Ball out, it's a throw-in for Memo Diaz and El Paso Locomotive. Memo Diaz back in his hometown, coming in from Oakland Roots SC. 4 years played in the Bay Area for him, as Wade just leaves us off towards Alfaro with Cabral pressing. Alfaro leaves us off towards Wade again in the 18. Cabral also in that 18, as Wade slices this back in towards the midfield. Neville able to win the header off of Avila. Back with Mo Traore, and now again with Neville. 43rd minute of play, rising down 2-0 to El Paso. Have yet to lead this season, have yet to get a point this season. As Smith plays this, looking for Cabral, Akwe will slide this out for a rising throw-in. Smith plays it towards Formella, Formella towards Smith, trying to get around Torres, right-footed ball down low, skied away by Alfaro, and it will lead to another corner kick coming up for Phoenix Rising on the right wing.
It was an excellent touch there from Smith to get past Gabby Torres. Ball in, not good enough to find a Rising player, but getting a set piece opportunity now just caused some chaos. They need to find a way to, when they're in the final third, get a shot, get anything on target to test Jamali Waite, who is so good for El Paso.
Crossed by Smith over everybody. Rivera trying to track it down on the left wing, and he does, and plays it towards Neville. Neville left-footed, or make that right-footed ball in towards Saint in the center circle. Saint trying to recycle it out towards the left. Space to work for Rivera. Triple team down the line towards Neville. Neville down low, and Waite will go a couple of paces off his line to grab it. Now with a right-handed roll, El Paso trying to get back out on the counterattack here. Left out towards Daroma. Daroma places more out on the left wing towards Moreno. Now Daroma, who had an assist last week, leaves it towards his fellow center midfielder, Coronado. And now El Paso works on the right-hand side with Memo Diaz. 44th minute of play. El Paso Locomotive and Phoenix Rising, two teams that love to hold the ball, but El Paso has done more with it in terms of their attacking style. As here comes Moshe Bain in the attacking third, right side, Diaz cross, clipped away by Saint, and it goes out for an El Paso throw-in that will be parallel to the 18.
Paso had a really good opportunity for a counterattack there when Harvey Neville played that cross in. Harvey Neville was caught way out of position as a result, but Rising did a good job shifting Carl Saint and Noble Okello over to make up the numbers on that back line, with Neville still so far up the pitch.
So far, expected goals for Phoenix Rising, if you're wondering, 0.07 as Formella continues to remain down on the pitch. Formella, who has already been down one time today, holding his left ankle. And our referee for today, Colin Radosov, will look towards the benches. It seems like we might have a change here as we approach the 45-minute mark from Southwest University Park. Formella, one of the 11 returners to the side for Phoenix Rising. One of the players that was a part of the 2023 run for Rising in the USL Championship. And if you're wondering if there are any players for El Paso who are in that USL Championship game, one of those guys, Beto Avila, he played 57 minutes for Charleston Battery. He scored the first goal of this game in the 6th minute, and his teammate, his new teammate, Amando Moreno, adding a second in the 34th, getting a touch around Patrick Rakowski and then sliding it into the bottom part of the net. 3 minutes of stoppage time here in the Borderlands as we continue to await what will happen with Formella.
Formella does have to come off here, which looks like he will. I'm intrigued to see what direction Pamuduka goes with his substitution. Is it Isan Saka? That seems like the most likely, as he is a forward, played as a striker, plays also as a right wing, kind of similar to Formella, as they're both hybrid players. Saka, though, it'll be his second appearances for Rising after joining from FC Thun in Switzerland, where he scored 9 goals in 43 games, also played in the French top division Ligue 1 with both OGC Nice and Strasbourg. He has pedigree in terms of what clubs he's played for, but does he have pedigree as a 9? That's not something I'm fully convinced of, but as a right winger, I think he would be able to contribute something to this Rising attack if he does come on.
So Formella's taken off, no substitution for now as Pop Marboy plays this forward, looking towards Cabral. It's off of his right hip and taken back by Alfaro and El Paso as Waite clears this now into the night air. Sun is set in the Borderlands. Started off with a nice blustery day. Cloudy overall, chance of hail earlier in the afternoon, as this one's clipped up towards Rivera. Rivera in the 18 on the left side. Damian Rivera cutting his way through, and the cross was, or rather the shot was deflected away. Palermo Ortiz with the interception. He got an immediate two-handed high five and hug from his goalkeeper, Jamali Waite. Just in the 3rd minute of stoppage time, another corner kick coming up for Rising.
It's another opportunity for Rising in the final third that came off a long ball and then came down the left-hand side with Damian Rivera. That one more in the half space there. Rivera has been the source of creativity through the Tulsa match and through the Rising match. Players like Remy Cabral, Darius Formella need to take a step up like he has.
And just like that, Phoenix Rising has a goal. Hope Aveyevu with the corner kick cross. Noble Okello, the 6'5 midfielder, just nods it into the back of the net to the right of Jamali Waite. No save made. And just moments before we head to halftime, it is El Paso 2, Phoenix Rising 1.
There's few better times to score goals than right before halftime, especially when you're trailing 2-0. Is a very, very good header from Noble Okello, which is one of the main threats of him, especially with his frame of being 6'5", just towers over most of the other players on this pitch. He did it a lot with Atlanta United too. Now delivers the first goal of the season for Phoenix Rising in 2025.
26 games played, 3 goals, 2 assists. With the Golden Spikes last year in MLS Next Pros, the ball's played down towards Remy Cabral and cleared away. We've gone past the 3-minute stoppage time mark as an El Paso player. It seems to be Coronado down on the ground right now. Throw-in coming for Phoenix Rising. Their first shot on goal today, courtesy of Noble Okello. The midfield linking up there as Marboy plays this towards Formella. Now towards Saint. Saint out on the left for Neville. Neville plays it towards Aveyevu, or rather Aveyevu now getting the ball as Diaz, or rather Ortiz, will cut his way through. Throw-in coming up. Neville, ball in his 2 hands, clips this in towards the 18. Popped up by Diaz, second header by Diaz, officially out of the 18. Traore brings it down towards Marboy, just beyond the center circle. Right half space, Marboy, right-footed ball in, and an overhead catch by Waite. Waite looking for some options, or he might wait his way towards halftime. Players now moving their way a little bit up the pitch. One bounce by Waite in the 18. He's calling for his players to go up, and will now punt it in towards the attacking third, and with that, we've reached halftime here at Southwest University Park. Phoenix Rising once again trailing at the halfway point, this time 2-1 to El Paso Locomotive. Beto Avila and Amando Moreno with the goals for El Paso Locomotive in the 6th minute and 34th minute respectively, before Noble Okello in the 3rd minute of stoppage time got a header off a set piece for Rising, and that makes it 2-1 in favor of the hosts. We'll break it down on the Phoenix Rising Radio halftime show, which is coming up in a little bit, so stay tuned, folks. Got a lot of action to break down on this Saturday night here from the bunker. Stay tuned, folks. You're listening to Phoenix Rising FC on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hello?
Man, where are you? I thought you were coming.
I can't. I'm in bed with the flu.
The flu? Whoa. Grandma's about to crowd surf. Man, I'll call you back.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is safe, effective, and you can get it at the same time as your COVID-19 vaccine. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
We're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Now we go back to the field to break down the first half action with the Rising Radio Halftime Report on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Halftime here at Southwest University Park in El Paso. It's El Paso Locomotive FC 2, Phoenix Rising 1, as we have reached the Phoenix Rising halftime report. Alongside Reese Goodall, I'm Mihir Sinhasan. Thanks for tuning in on this Saturday evening. And Reese, it seemed like Phoenix Rising had 5 minutes of really good football in the beginning of this game, 5 minutes of really good football at the end of this first half, and then a lot of middling in between.
Well, I mean, in those opening 5 minutes and the final 5 minutes, as you just mentioned, it feels like Rising actually played to their ideals that they implemented over preseason. It was a high press, as we saw. Rising forced a lot of chaos. Damian Rivera was able to benefit off that, but there just wasn't that final ball for that 10-minute span that could get Rising a goal.
So a couple of goals for El Paso. The first one coming in the 6th minute of play, courtesy of Beto Avila, as the ball was bouncing around the 18, just took it out of the sky with his right foot and sliced it into the left part of the net. The other one coming in the 34th minute from Amando Moreno. A little bit of a tussle with Phoenix Rising's goalkeeper Patrick Rakowski to try to get that ball, and even though Rakowski kind of held on for it for a little while, it eventually let loose, and then Moreno took a little touch and slid it into the back part of the net. However, Noble Okello right now helping out Phoenix Rising. First goal of the season for the Red and Black in the 3rd minute of our first half stoppage time. Hope Aveyevu with the cross coming in from the far side, and Okello just nodding it into the back of the net. 6'5" midfielder from Toronto, Ontario, Noble Okello, doing what tall players do overall. But again, Phoenix Rising, even though with that goal from Okello, struggling overall with set-piece defending, and overall, it seems like Rising has been the second best team in this game, Reese. And it seems like they're chasing the game overall.
They are chasing the game. They've really dug themselves into a hole with that poor set piece marking on the opening goal for El Paso. Colin Smith headed the ball away, and it was right towards Beto Avila. There was just not the numbers there for Rising. They were a bit confused, just not in the right spot. They had a few other opportunities off free kicks and corners for El Paso, just couldn't make the most of them there, couldn't take advantage on that second goal. As he said, it was just chaos from Armando Moreno. Verkasi gained control of the ball. That I don't know if it was purposeful or Armando Moreno just trying to get a foot down, but he jarred the ball loose, was able to put it away. When you saw Pop Marboy literally turn around to try and kickstart a counterattack for Rising, but instead it ends in a goal for El Paso.
And you think about it overall, two teams that try to possess the ball. Phoenix Rising, 55% of the possession, 4 shots overall. And Reese, we talked about it during the pregame. When you look at a Phoenix Rising team trying to be meaningful with their possession, how much have they improved in this first half, if you can say it?
Compared to the Tulsa game, I think they have improved. Compared to times that last season, I really don't know if there has been much improvement. They've gotten to the final third much more than they seemingly did against Tulsa last week, but it's just that final ball, which they lacked last season, and so far they're lacking through the opening 135 minutes and change in this in 2025. If they can find just one cross, like they did on that Okela goal, it came out of nowhere, they need to find a way to do that again in the second half.
So it's El Paso 2, Phoenix Rising 1. We'll break down some more action, including those happening all across the league, when we come back here on the Phoenix Rising Halftime Report.
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Rising Radio Halftime Report on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
45 down, 45 to go from Southwest University Park. It's El Paso 2, Phoenix Rising 1. Mahir Sinhasan and Reese Goodall back with you. A lot of games happening across the league. Match day 2 in the USL Championship. A lot of games have currently wrapped up, 5 to be exact. The first one being Detroit City, a come-from-behind win at Colorado Springs. The reigning champs place a 2-1 victory for the visitors. The Miami FC and Indy 11, one of the East Coast battles today. Indy 11 with a 3-1 victory. And then another road victory overall with Loudoun United beating North Carolina FC 2-1. But the home teams were able to get some victories overall too, with Charleston Battery beating Rhode Island 2-0 in a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Final, and FC Tulsa defeating Tampa Bay Rowdies 1-0 in that one. A late goal overall courtesy of FC Tulsa, giving the team right now 6 points on the season after defeating Rising by that same scoreline, 1-0 last week. Another game going on right now, San Antonio FC beating Pittsburgh Riverhounds 1-0 at home, and 3 games yet to start today. The most recent one that should start any moment now, Monterey Bay taking Oakland Roots, and then Orange County SC facing Lexington at home. Almost a cross-country battle, if you will, even though Lexington is not necessarily the East Coast, but it is in the Eastern time zone. And then Las Vegas Lights taking on New Mexico United in Sin City. Halftime stats right now in favor of El Paso. 6 shots on goal, 2 on target. Phoenix Rising, 4 shots, 1 on target. So as it is right now, according to this stat sheet, every shot on target has resulted in a goal right now. Goalkeeping has not been the best today, Reese Goodall, but let's take a look at Patrick Rakowski, especially knowing the type of storyline he has. What does he have to do better in the second half?
distribution, I think, is the main thing that Rakowski kind of needs to step up on. There are a few times where passes were a little wayward, too many times, in my opinion, with this wind that is going on in El Paso, that they're looking to play the ball long. And that's just not something with Rakowski. That's something with the whole team. It just hasn't gotten tested enough for shot-stopping wise. I mean, the second goal, there's really nothing he could do besides hold on to it, which sounds easy enough, but it was poked out by Armando Moreno. The first goal, just good placement by Beto Avila. He really hasn't been tested. It's the passing that I think he needs to work on.
And Rakowski, again, backup goalkeeper last year to Rocco Rios Novo with Inter Miami, trying to get his first win. He's yet to get a clean sheet this season, but he can will his team to victory. No subs right now for either side as well. So it will be an interesting second half coming up here from El Paso, where Locomotive lead 2-1 right here on the Rising Radio Network.
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hello? Man, where are you? I thought you were coming.
I can't. I'm in bed with the flu.
The flu? Whoa. Grandma's about to crowd surf. Man, I'll call you back.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is safe, effective, and you can get it at the same time as your COVID-19 vaccine. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Back for the second half of action between Phoenix Rising and El Paso Locomotive. Rising now working from right to left. El Paso now working from left to right on a blustery night in the Borderlands. Mahirson Hassan, Reese Goodall back with our producer Sammy O'Brien as El Paso tries to get out on the attack here, with Rising trying to get that equalizer to start off the second half. Played with Hope Avievu. Avievu tried to slide it out towards the right. It's clipped away by Wahab Akwe. And Phoenix Rising trying to regain possession in the attacking third. Left off towards Akello, the goal scorer, make that Saint. And it's now picked off by Daroma. Frank Daroma trying to go forward in the attack. Clipped from behind by Avievu. And he earns a free kick for El Paso Locomotive just beyond the minute mark, if you will, in the second half.
Rising now attacking the left field section of Southwest University Park. If you're looking at it in baseball terms, this is where the grass is just pure grass. There's no sod over the infield dirt. So Rising are going to hopefully have a bit more luck with the bounces of the ball, be a bit more clean on some of these passes.
So now play down the line for El Paso. Going forward here, it's Avila. Avila now in the 18, try to leave it off towards a man. The tap in, though, on the back post is in. And it's the former Phoenix Rising player, Gabby Torres. Avila try to leave it off towards Moreno, who goes down inside the 6-yard box, and Gabby Torres on the back post comes crashing in unmarked to slide it in to the back of the net. Lights starting to flicker, drums beating throughout Southwest University Park. 47 minutes through, it's El Paso 3, Phoenix Rising 1.
Trademark celebration for Gabby Torres, going to his knees, pointing to the sky. Saw it so many times in a Rising shirt. Now, that's just the worst start you could possibly have for Rising's perspective. Perfect for El Paso. And again, El Paso, when they get to the final third, the reason that they've been able to be so successful, scoring 3 goals, is they caused chaos. They got a touch there ahead of Rakowski. I believe that was Beto Avila. And Gabby Torres was able to make the most of it, putting it home.
And Gabby Torres, again, a guy who's scored a lot, or rather scored some with Phoenix Rising. 4 goals during his stint there in the 52 games played. His second appearance for El Paso, rocking the graffiti kit today, light blue across the entire kit overall. Light blue tops, light blue shorts, light blue socks. His first goal for his new club. Rising now trying to rally against El Paso. Have yet to win here since 2019, in danger of their second loss in their second game of the season.
This would only be the 3rd time ever, though, that El Paso Locomotive has beaten Rising if this result's hold. Both of those wins for El Paso came in the 2022 season. One of the goals, though, scored for Rising, Ryan Flood banger.
And here comes Torres again. Goes down, trying to evade a tackle. It's Mo Traore make that another Phoenix Rising player. That was Torres' last goal, which came against El Paso back in August of 2023. A little bit of deja vu on this Saturday night. 49th minute, El Paso back out on the attack. Torres, one of the players standing over the ball for this free kick on the left wing. Memo Diaz the other. Diaz runs over it. Torres to take, and it's caught by Rakowski. Rakowski trying to work his way forward. A left-footed punt out towards the right wing. Smith giving chase to it, and it's brought down by El Paso. From Alfaro towards Acque. Acque tries to see this forward off the head of Avila, but nobody able to get that ball except for Rakowski, just beyond his 18.
That last goal for Gabby Torres, as you mentioned, was the 5th goal for Rising in a 5-0 win over El Paso in August of 2023. Like you said, that feels so long ago, which it is, but it just feels like a 5-0 win is so long gone in Rising's future.
Neville plays this direct towards Cabral. Cabral back to goal, squares this towards Akello, and Akello plays this back towards Traore in the back half. Phoenix Rising looking to avoid a second consecutive loss for the second consecutive year. Started off with only 1 goal scored in the first 4 games, resulted in 3 losses during that time. The one time they did score a goal, they won against Oakland Roots SC. Trying to avoid a similar fate under a new head coach in Pa Motoka. Here comes Beto Avila. Numbers back for Rising as Avila tries to poke it towards Diaz. He tracks back, goes down courtesy of Saints' challenge. Play continues on as Neville, who currently stands at the pitcher's mound here at Southwest University Park, also a baseball stadium, plays it back towards his goalkeeper. Either way, it will be a free kick for El Paso. Play stopped right now as the home side gets some treatment. Seems like it's Memo Diaz. Might be a case of the cramps, currently getting his legs worked on by Ortiz, one of his teammates. Couple other players in light blue standing around him as we are now in the 51st minute of play. Diaz has gotten up as Avila just played that ball towards Torres. We get a replay here from the bunker. Gabby Torres, as we mentioned before, first goal, did not score in 2024. His first goal of 2025. It seemed like Moreno did get a touch to that ball after nearly being taken down in the 6-yard box. So Moreno will be credited with the assist. So Moreno now with the 1 goal, 1 assist day. Beto Avila with the ball played in. He scored the first goal for El Paso. Currently 3-1 in favor of the home side, looking for its first win of the season under now permanent head coach Wilmer Cabrera. Rising gets picked off by Daroma. Daroma scrambling through, poked by Moshe towards Avila. 2-on-1 now for El Paso. Avila leaves us off towards Moreno, takes a touch, and in that touch, Avayevu tracking back, clears it directly into the El Paso supporters section. Another corner kick coming up for Locomotive on the far side of the pitch here in the 52nd minute.
Phenomenal recovery there from Rising when it looked like El Paso was going to have a had a 2-on-1 with Pop Marboy and then just Rakowski waiting, but Moreno wasn't able to make the most of it. As you said, Hope made a great job charging back, clearing the ball away for a corner. But this is where El Paso caused chaos in the first half. Do they have another trick up their sleeves to pile on to their lead?
So players set inside the 18 right now. Some of the tall bodies for Phoenix Rising, including Noble Okello and Nino Sacco now right in that area as well. Ball clipped in by Diaz, right around, a bicycle kick, goes in the back of the net. Moreno, the magician, from 12 yards out, gets up in the air, pinwheels it into the back of the net with his right leg. The lights flicker once again. 53rd minute of play, everything going right for El Paso Locomotive. 4-1 to the home side.
Filthy, filthy, filthy finish from Armando Moreno there. He's got his 3rd goal of the season in only about a match and a little over a half so far this year. That's half of his tally from last year. He's looking to return to his form that he had in New Mexico, and no better way to do it than that bicycle kick there.
It went off of Moshe Bain. The shot came in. Rakowski had a decent chance to make that save as he dove to his right. Just not enough power to steer it away from net. Even Moreno a little surprised that went in. Elated right now. 2 goals today, 3 goals on the season for a guy that led the side with 6 goals the entirety of 2024.
Ball just found a way to sneak right between Noble Okello and Pop Marboy there. And that's, I think, why Moreno was so surprised that ball found the back of the net.
So Smith plays it down towards a teammate. That was Sacco. So, like you said, Reese, you mentioned this in the first half. Darius Formella taken out. Isan Nino Sacco now in. As Sacco played 19 minutes, only had 3 touches last week against FC Tulsa. He was on for Remy Cabral, who is once again still in at the number 9 spot. Free kick coming for Phoenix Rising here in the 55th minute. Avayevu sets the ball down on the right wing. Wilmer Cabrera in the overside black coat, calling for some instructions for his El Paso Locomotive players. A couple of paces back for Avayevu. Players attempting the crash in as the ball is whipped in. A header brought in by Okello, but it skips wide right of net. Unbothered weight in net as he goes all the way back towards what would be the warning track here at this baseball field to retrieve the ball for the goal kick.
Rising are doing a good job of finding their tallest player, Noble Okello, on these set pieces, but that's about the only good thing they're doing entering the final third. It just feels like they're struggling for ideas, struggling creativity when it's from open play. The set pieces have given them a bit of life in the attack, but the set pieces on El Paso's side have propelled them to this 4-1 lead.
The first time El Paso Locomotive has scored 4 goals since 2022. And it was a 4-4 draw versus Colorado. Not as many goals tonight, only 5. One of them going towards Phoenix Rising right now. A big hole to dig themselves out of. 35 minutes plus stoppage time left in this one. Down by 3. El Paso back in deep in their own defensive third. Tony Alfaro leaving it down towards Daroma. Daroma heels in the touchline, pips it forward, trying to find Moreno sprawling his way, and he loses control to Saint and Rising. Saint try to find Cabral, and Cabral can't find Sacco on the one-time ball. Scooped up by Wade in the 18. Another hurl out towards the right-hand side for Diaz. Chops it down, plays this off in towards the right half space for Palermo Ortiz. Ortiz tried to play it through towards Moshe Bain, picked off by Traore, and it's back with Rakowski in his 18. 57th minute of play. Phoenix Rising, who has once again struggled to start the season. Only 1 win in the first 4 games under Danny Stone. A 1-0 loss last week to FC Tulsa, the first game under Pa Modoka, currently in his coaching box right now. Haven't seen any sign of the water cooler yet for Pamodo Ka. I know he's used to sitting on that for home games at Phoenix Rising, and whenever he gets off of the box, it's usually signaled as go time for the boys in red and black.
Wonder if that's viewed as a sign of good luck. I know it didn't start the season well, but still, without it, they conceded 4 last week, only 1. So is it a sign of good luck for Rising's back line?
Well, 58th minute of play. They're down 4-1 in their second game of the season against a team that was dead last in the Western Conference. So make of that as you will, as a free kick is earned by Rising. Just beyond the timeline on the right-hand side. Played towards Saint with Traore, now towards Neville in the left half space. Neville out towards Rivera, just at the edge of the attacking third, as he slides it back towards Traore. Traore split pass towards Avievu. Avievu tries to play it towards Rivera, goes down right at the edge of the box, and the referee will point to the spot for a penalty. No instance quite yet on whether or not it is a penalty. It was right on the edge of that 18-yard box. Might have been just outside of it. The referee, Colin Radosov, has already called the El Paso player over to issue a yellow card, and it will be a yellow card for Memo Diaz. So a reckless challenge. Unsure quite yet if this will be a free kick or a penalty. And it looks like Rivera was clipped just outside of the box. The original decision by Radosov was pointing in direction of the penalty spot rather than just pointing the direction forward for Phoenix Rising. Either way, if it is a direct free kick, and it will be a direct free kick, it will be probably, I'd say, 12 inches from that 18-yard box line. Jamali Waite on his right post, head right on the netting, trying to get his wall right.
It's another instance of Rising finding Damian Rivera, and good things happen. That time he was taken down, wasn't able to really get a touch after the pass from Avievu, but it's just when they find Rivera, him, they have bright moments. Now it's going to be a free kick for Harvey Neville and Carl Saint. Can they find something to claw back into this?
5-man wall for El Paso, nobody lying on the ground. Waite will be to the left of it. Harvey Neville stands over for Phoenix Rising. Short sleeve top, white shorts, black socks. Whistle blows. It's Harvey Neville, and it's caught by Waite. Neville trying to go around the wall towards his right. Waite read it all the way. Now he punts it forward, trying to get Daroma on the counterattack, and Traore trying to sprint his way will see this out for a throw-in. A 10-inch difference between the 5'4" Frank Daroma and the 6'2" Mohamed Traore.
Rising have just surrounded Daroma with all their tall bodies. Okello, Saint, Traore, Potmar Boy. Feels like anytime Daroma has the ball, it's one of those 4 giants surrounding him.
Phoenix Rising back with the ball with Patrick Rakowski as we are now 60 minutes through from Southwest University Park. It's 4-1 in favor of El Paso Locomotive. 2 goals in the first half, courtesy of Beto Avila and Amando Moreno. And 2 goals here in the second half, one from Gabby Torres, the former Phoenix Rising man, before Moreno tacked on his second with an absolute pinwheel bicycle kick. Electrifying the crowd here at Southwest University Park. Braving the wind on this Saturday night. Throw now for Locomotive on the right side. It's Diaz to take, popped it down towards Avila. Pinballs its way on the near side. Last touched by El Paso. So another throw-in coming up for Harvey Neville, who comes over from Portland Timbers too. He plays this towards Traore. Low ball, picked off by El Paso momentarily and controlled right now through the middle. It's played out towards Moshe Bain. Moshe Bain in the 18, cut away by Traore. Ball stays in play near side, and a left-footed clearance down the line by Traore. Chested down by Rivera as Phoenix Rising tries to get on the counter here and break another line. Nino Sacco on the left half space towards Avievu, and Avievu runs into Palermo Ortiz. Ball goes out on the near touchline. Throw-in coming for Phoenix Rising.
Rising nearly caught out there on the counter, only had 2 players back, being both their center backs, but El Paso just unable to really make Rising pay for that mistake. It was Toomey Moshe just needed to do a little bit more, be a bit more quicker, not be as indecisive as he was.
Akwe will let it go, and Waite will take it for El Paso. The goalkeeper The Jamaican international sends it out on the right-hand side, looking towards Diaz. Stops his run just short of the timeline and plays it back towards Daroma. Coronado plays it towards Akwe. Akwe out on the left for Tony Alfaro. Alfaro checking in with Moreno, and Moreno out towards Torres as Moreno goes down in the left half space, just adjacent to the center circle, and it's a free kick for the home side. Back with Akwe, and now with Ortiz again. Pokes it forward, high in the air. Traore trying to control it, and he couldn't as the ball went out on the near side. Throw-in coming up for El Paso Locomotive. The ball just nearly adjacent to the 18-yard box as Harvey Neville and Phoenix Rising in the black tops, white shorts, black socks, their away kits, walk their way back, trying to set up around the 18 as Diaz lifts this down towards a teammate. Diaz able to get it back. Diaz trying to slalom his way through, and he'll earn a free kick on the edge of the 18 on the right wing.
Diaz there did a good job linking up and then getting the ball back. And when it was time to make that run into the box, just kind of wasn't given anywhere to take that step. That's why the whistle was blown for the foul. I believe that was Mo Traore there, or no, rather Carl Saint getting called for the foul. Just feels like frustration has started to set in with Rising. There's been a few fouls that just make you scratch your head, and why are you doing that? There's better ways to win the ball than what Carl Saint did there, and a few other times as well.
So it's a free kick now for El Paso. Diaz, who drew the foul, will take it, or rather it's left off towards Torres, and the ball finds its way into the back of the net off a ricochet, but no, it will be called offside. Much to the dismay of many El Paso players who are ready to go celebrate, and now they got to go back and defend.
Would have been the third goal off set pieces today. Rising just have somehow, some way, each time lost an El Paso player. El Paso has made them pay each time.
So it was Gabby Torres with the free kick, went through the two-man wall, and the shot was taken by Palermo Ortiz. He was headed over towards the near side corner flag, grabbing the camera as well, trying to usher the cameraman, saying, hey, let me show you my dance moves, let me show you my celebration, and, well, it never happened. Free kick for Rising, 65th minute of play. They're down 4-1 to Locomotive. Only goal for the visitors, courtesy of Noble Okello, 3 minutes into stoppage time as Neville gets tangled up with the wiring on the near side, and that's going to prompt a little altercation in that area. Hope Avievu rushing over to stop the clamoring as Neville, who was tangled up in the play, walks away unscathed.
Avievu was uninvolved in that little sequence on the end line. It still came running over, kind of escalated the interaction there. But that's kind of good to see, this fight that Rising are showing passion, especially from Avievu. They just need to step that up and create goals as a result of it.
So the ball goes back towards El Paso. We're past the 65-minute mark, 25 minutes plus stoppage time remaining in this one. Phoenix Rising in need of some goals. And again, Pam Odoka talked about in the preseason, Reese, that this team will not have a defensive mindset. So we're sure to see some shots, but at the same time, this is an uphill battle.
There's been an attacking mindset, but there hasn't really been a chance creation mindset. The few good looks that Rising have had have came from either crosses from deep or from set piece opportunities, which has really been the name of the game for both these sides. From open play, when Rising enter the final third, they've struggled. Combination play between the forwards and midfield, just haven't really been able to take that step, that final ball to get a shot on target and find the back of the net. Really just haven't tested Jamali Waite enough to find the back of the net.
So changes coming on the far side as Gabby Torres, who was on the ground momentarily, able to get up. So a lot of changes coming up as Alvaro Quesada will check in on the right-hand side for Memo Diaz. That will be your first change for El Paso Locomotive. Tumi Moshebain also headed back to the bench. And the hero last week, Wilmer Cabrera Jr., also known as Andy, will head in. And the third change coming up will be coming up for El Paso as well. 3 changes for El Paso, as well as to see Ricky Ruiz head into the game. 2 changes coming up for Rising as well. We saw JP Skiers on the far touchline. One of the changes coming up here for Phoenix Rising. As we see Torres and Diaz getting some high fives, some handshakes on that far touchline.
Very similar substitutions by Wilmer Cabrera as to last week. It's the same thing where Andy Cabrera is coming on for Tumi Mosherbane, and then a full stale change of both their wingbacks as well.
So now 3 changes so far for Phoenix Rising. We talked about Skiers, who is now in the game. Darius Formella went off. Isan Sako came on just within the first part of the second half. Formella dealing with some injuries overall. Phoenix Rising down 4-1, now defending a corner kick coming up from El Paso. Ricky Ruiz, who just checked in, rolls the ball towards that corner side. Takes a few paces back, right hand up, left foot through the ball. It's bounced down, still in towards the 6, and cleared away by Rising. Ball bounces its way back in towards the midfield, near side, and it's picked up by Quesada. Throw and taken now by Palermo Ortiz. Ortiz looking down the line, pipped up and picked away by, it seems like, Emi Quaisho, who's now in the game for Phoenix Rising. Quaisho making his first appearance of the season for Rising, as he'll play it towards the other freshly checked in JP Skiers, and Mo Traore comes flying in to clear it back in towards El Paso territory. Here comes Rising again with Rivera. Through ball out towards Sako. Sako in the 18 now. Sako tries to leave it towards Cabral. It's left away. Smith plays it back towards Cabral, and he slides its way into the back of the net. Colin Smith with the crashing pass, determined as is, and Remy Cabral with number 9 instincts gets it off the turn, slides it into the lower left corner past Jamali Waite. 69th minute of play, and Phoenix Rising has one back, down 4-2.
I don't know how much of a pass it really was from Colin Smith. Yes, it found the feet of Remy Cabral, but it felt like he was just more going for goal to really test Jamali Waite. But Cabral, excellent touch to control it, and then an excellent shot to put it past Jamali Waite and give Rising some hope in this one.
Here comes Rising again. Akello plays it off towards Avayevu, trying to look it towards the right for Smith. Now it's out towards Smith on the right. Smith grappling with Torres. Ricky Ruiz stepping through. Rather make that another El Paso player. That was Coronado. Torres just subbed off just moments ago.
On that goal there, back to it, Remy Cabral was trying to, or rather it was Isan Sako was making a move, and that poor pass to Remy Cabral led to that clearance which found Colin Smith's feet. Isan Sako, in my opinion, needs to do a bit better there, be a bit more tidy with it, better with his passing. It ends up working out for Rising, so you can't complain too much.
Quaisho tries to play this towards Cabral. Cabral out towards Rivera. Still on the pitch here in the 70th minute. Rivera dancing around a couple of Locomotive players, squares this back towards Akello and back towards Quaisho. Left-footed ball driven in low, and Akwe will clear this out on the near side for a corner kick. So a couple of these changes, Reese, for Phoenix Rising, causing a little bit of fervor in the attacking third.
Just they're finally pushing forward with, it seems like, intent. They were moving forward earlier, but didn't feel like there was intent behind these attacks. Emi Quaisho there played that cross in. I think he's going to be a big boost to how Rising look in these final final 20 minutes of this game, because he's more attacking. Yes, he is a left back, but he's just more attacking rather than Harvey Neville's not naturally there.
Avayevu cross headed away only as far as Quaisho, who teed it up from the top of the 18, and it skies in towards the fans right behind Waite's goal. 71st minute of play. You're listening to Phoenix Rising FC on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network. Mihirson Hassan, Reese Goodall here from the bunker. It's El Paso Locomotive 4, Phoenix Rising 2, as Locomotive had 2 goals in the first half before Noble Akello headed the ball in off the corner kick from Hope Avayevu, made it 2-1, headed into the break, and it's the same scoreline right now in the second half. 2 goals from El Paso, including one from Gabby Torres, the former Phoenix Rising man, just a couple of minutes into the next frame. Amando Moreno, 2 goals today, including his second one, which was a pinwheel bicycle kick from 12 yards out, and before Remy Cabral bagged his first goal of 2025 just moments ago. Free kick now for El Paso. A couple of paces off for Tony Alfaro. getting ready to take this. Long run up, skies us towards the right half space. Make that the right as Quayshow heads it up into the air. Quayshow headed down towards Rivera, checking his way back in. And Quayshow, trying to probe forward, is taken down from behind by Quesada. Free kick taken short by Quayshow towards Traore and back towards Marboy, the two Senegalese center backs for Rising today. Now towards Colin Smith, who comes in from Rhode Island, and he lost control of it on the far side of the pitch. Throwing now for El Paso. Taken short, trying to keep the control, keep momentum in their favor with a 2-goal advantage. Trying to get around the defenders, Nino Sacco. Sacco continues to pressure. That was Alfaro who was trying to see that one out, and he will see it out for a throw-in. Another run up by Alfaro. Plays it down the line. Marboy heads it down only as far as Daroma. Daroma squishing his way through the midfield and plays this out towards a dashing Avila, or make that Quesada. Quesada able to control it on the right against Quayshow. In the 18 now for Quesada. Going end line, Quesada slides this down. It's still in the 18. Rising unable to clear. Now outside, Coronado tees up a shot, and that one is sliced well into the crowd.
Frank DeRoma played that ball out wide for Quesada that helped launch the El Paso attack. Haven't said Frank DeRoma's name too much today. He hasn't been as effective as he was against Colorado Springs in the opener, but it shows that he can still have that quality to turn it on in an instance like he did there.
So 4 goals today for El Paso, 2 of which were assisted. Tumi Moshabane with an assist along with Beto Avila. Avila with a 1-goal, 1-assist game today. Moreno, 2 goals, as mentioned earlier. Gabby Torres with his first goal since 2023, which came against El Paso as a member of Phoenix Rising. Free kick taken by Rising. Now in their defensive half, Pop Marboy slides it out towards Smith. Smith towards Skiers, harassed by a couple of El Paso players. And the ball finds Traore for Rising. Traore towards Saint. Saint towards Quayshow on the left. Acre of space to work, but he'll stay in the half space. And now out further left towards Rivera. Rivera, double team, slides it down low, cleared away ferociously by Akwe. Might have gone into the upper decks here at Southwest University Park. 75th minute of play, another Rising throw-in, down 4-2. Colin Radosov will blow his whistle momentarily and give some instructions towards El Paso's defense, including Jamali Waite, the goalkeeper. Amit Quayshow with the ball. Currently on the near side touchline, bounces it a couple of times. Ball in his right hand. The new USL ball, it says select on it in black lettering. A white ball with yellow and green stars, if you will, but tinted. Thrown by Quayshow, cleared away by El Paso as it rolls its way back towards Rising territory. A throw in by Traore, quickly taken towards Rakowski, 30 yards off his line. Traore looking for some space, some action for Phoenix Rising. The last time this team took on a side from the Lone Star State, it was against San Antonio FC on September 21st. They won that game 4-0 at 38th and Washington. Last time they took on El Paso, July 19th. The first home game under interim head coach Diego Gomez, a 2-0 victory with Pop Marboy and JP Skiers both on the pitch right now for the red and black, scoring in that one. Here comes El Paso again as the ball is flicked away by the running Coronado. Now it's Smith and Rising as his ball is fruitless down the right-hand side. Skiers chests it down, slides it over towards Traore. Traore decides to left it over, looking for Rivera, and it's brought down by Palermo Ortiz. Here's Frank DeRoma, who was on the USL Team of the Week last week. Quesada plays it Moshabane. Ortiz back towards Waite in net. A lot of beanies handed out today at Southwest University Park. First 1,500 fans getting one of the select ones with the El Paso Locomotive logo on it. They've enjoyed a good contest so far here in the 77th minute. 4 goals for the home side, 2 for the road.
It's what El Paso fans really would want to see after last year was just downright abysmal for them. It's just no results at home. Felt like there were so many losses, bad losses too, where their team just didn't have fight. So far through the opening or match in 75 minutes of this one, they've looked good. They've shown fight even when they have the lead. When they come from behind like last week, they're doing a good job.
Counter coming forward, and Quesada, who was making a scrambling run on the right wing, put up a cross, but could not find anybody in the box. And a goal kick for Rising on the far side. 77th minute to play. It's been Patrick Rakowski in net for Rising throughout this season. Tristan Henry currently on the bench. Those two squaring off against each other in the red and black intra-squad scrimmage a couple of weeks ago. Pa Motoka decides to go with Rakowski, the former backup under Rocco Rios Novo. Rakowski has had to wade his way through the season. Has allowed 2 goals, has made a couple of saves as well. Quaisho, left-footed ball, clipped forward, looking for Cabral in the 18. Brought down, dancing his way through. Some good work there by Palermo Ortiz. He leaves this off, and it's back with Ortiz again towards Quesada, the free transfer from Memphis 901 FC. Ortiz, long ball played off the head of Ricky Ruiz. Marboy keeps the moon ball going, and Skierce will bounce this back towards Rakowski. A short-handed side for Phoenix Rising today. Again, no Darius Johnson, no Gerald Margarita, no Charlie Dennis, not even in the starting lineup. Not on the bench either. Did not make the trip to El Paso for this contest. Noble Akello, the 6'5 midfielder. It's cut away by El Paso. Back out again. Dancing their way through as Toroma is taken off the ball, and here comes Rising again. Rivera, edge of the 18. Rivera cutting inside. Damian Rivera, shot blocked. Akwe trying to grab it. Back heel towards Avayevu, and a two-handed paw by Waite to clear it away. Skierce crashing in with a shot that skitters wide of net. A couple of players on the ground for El Paso Locomotive. In the 79th minute of play, it is still El Paso 4, Phoenix 2.
Skierce wanted the corner kick after that shot taken. He wanted a deflection off Frank DeRoma. You saw Frank DeRoma there scream, just excited and showing passion as that ball went out for a goal kick. It was a good movement from Damian Rivera, dropping it off for Hope Avayevu, but just Rising unable to find the back of the net again. Yes, they have 2 goals, but they just haven't. For how this game has gone, they need to find more, and they just can't reach that 3rd gear, 4th gear, whatever you want to call it, just haven't been able to.
El Paso Locomotive only 2 wins overall against Phoenix Rising here in the 11th meeting all time between these two. Met up in the 2020 Western Conference Final. Phoenix Rising winning that one after some extra football and then going to the final, which was never played that year because of COVID-19. Would have taken on the Tampa Bay Rowdies, Damian Rivera and Charlie Dennis's former side. Out on the left, Hope Avayevu, the Haiti international, getting some space for Rising in the attacking third, try to lay it off towards Nino Sacco, and he notches it in the back of the net. A clear chance from 12 yards out, a right-footed shot that goes to the left of Waite, and all of a sudden, this is a game here at El Paso. Nino Sacco, the transfer from FC Thun in Switzerland, firing up his side, going immediately back towards his post, trying to energize his players. Rising only down 4-3 here in the 81st minute of play.
Very good build-up from Rising there. They had the ball on the end line, some back heels. Noble Akello, Hope, Damian Rivera all got involved there. Then Hope with the assist to Isan Sacco. And Sacco not only opens his account for the season, but opens his account in a Rising shirt with a very good finish. And now Rising all of a sudden seemed like they were way out of this game, are right back in it with 10 minutes in stoppage time remaining.
So you never know. Pa Motoka, as we mentioned earlier, no defensive mindset with this side. And the last time El Paso Locomotive scored 4 goals, it was a 4-4 draw. I'll hold my tongue for now on whether or not that would happen. Nonetheless, here's Quaisho, as Phoenix Rising has taken full momentum in the past 10 minutes or so. Avayevu tries to play this, and he gets in trouble, taking down Andy Cabrera on the right side. So free kick coming up for Locomotive. 82nd minute of play. It's Palermo Ortiz once again to take it. Spent 13 years in the Mexican division, currently on loan from FC Juarez, or rather came to El Paso last year on loan from Juarez, just 3 miles away from Southwest University Park, now on a permanent deal in the United States and the USL. One back by El Paso, played out, squared away by Skiers. Tried to keep that one in play, Nino, and eventually got back with El Paso. Goals on goals on goals in Southwest Texas, as a free kick is given towards El Paso. Edge of the attack in third left wing is Pa Motoka, going with the gray vest, black dress shirt, and a black tie underneath, beckoning to his players from the touchline. Phoenix Rising was down 4-1 just a few minutes ago. Now they stand 1 goal away from a point.
This is the chaos that Pa kind of spoke about in preseason. I mean, talked about, he was asked, would he rather win a match 1-0 or 5-4? He said he'd rather win a match 5-4. Now he's fairly close to that scoreline if Rising can score 2 more. Time to do it. I don't know if they will be able to, but it could be interesting to see if he gets his wish.
A couple of ricochets on the free kick. It was last touched by Rising. Corner kick coming up for El Paso on the right-hand side. It was Quesada to take as Rakowski gives out his orders to some of his players. Phoenix Rising in their away kits today. Black tops, white shorts with the black stripes, and black socks with the red stripe on top. El Paso going with their graffiti kit today, with graffiti on the right side of their shirt, the front side of it that is, and on the sleeves. Light blue tops, light blue shorts, light blue socks, as Ricky Ruiz, the left-footed player, will take this corner kick from the right wing. Right foot up, right foot down, and the left foot goes into the box. It's clipped up and away. Last touched off of Rising, it seemed like, as JP Skiers and Mo Traore were in the mix trying to clear that. And now Phoenix Rising will defend a corner kick on the other side of the pitch, far side.
It's one of the very few set pieces that El Paso have had in this match where they really didn't test Rakowski. They've scored twice. They scored a disallowed goal. It feels like anytime they're running a set play, they're going to put a shot on target. They have another one here. Can they put another insurance goal on the score sheet?
Quesada, right hand up. Now right foot through the ball, fluttering into the box. Cleared by Marboy, only as far as Daroma, 30 yards out, and he plays it towards Alfaro in the center. Alfaro, left-footed ball, sent in, headed up by Quaisho, who's playing on the right momentarily, out on the far side, and a throw-in now for El Paso with Ricky Ruiz. Rising now getting back to their usual posts, including Quaisho backtracking towards his left-back spot. Ruiz, the left-back for El Paso, plays this down in towards the corner. Couple of dances, squares this off of Avayevu, and the home side will do it again. Clipped down, space to work for Moshe. Some space to work. That was actually Kofi Tumasi on it. Tumasi with the cross. That one clipped away, and a corner kick coming up for Locomotive. 85th minute of play. El Paso 4, Rising 3. It was a 3-goal lead for Locomotive. It has dwindled down to 1 as we head into the last 5 minutes plus stoppage time. What a comeback result this would be for Rising. They have to defend this corner kick, though. That's taken short by Quesada. Played out towards the middle. Shot taken right towards Quesada, who just flubs it up in the air. And Skiers forcefully clears it out into the midfield. Headed back in, but out on the far side touchline. A throw in here for Rising. Noble Akello, ball in his left hand, and will underhand toss it towards Smith. Smith, a run up. Played short. Akello juggling far side. Pops it over towards Quaisho. Quaisho brings it down. Left-footed ball by him. Plays it out towards Sacco. Sacco in the 18. Tries to square it off. It's still in the 18. Akello's shot whisked away by Alfaro. And it goes all the way back in towards the midfield. A long shot by Traore. And it's gone in. Oh my goodness. Golazo on golazo for Mo Traore, who squares a shot from 45 yards out, goes over the head of Jamali Waite, and an absolute ambush around Pa Motoka, the head coach. Players are still flying in, and Phoenix Rising, who was down 4-1 20 minutes ago, is now tied 4-4.
Pamadou Ka telling his players not to focus on the celebration and get going again. But that's a goal that we saw from Mo Traore in the red-black friendly. That one was seemed more of an error on the goalkeeper in that friendly. That was Tristan Henry in goal. But still, Mo Traore delivers an absolute banger to level this match at 4.
And we talked about it earlier. We talked about it when it was 4-1. Our statistician Ryan Sikora giving that stat that the last time El Paso was scoring 4 goals, it was a 4-4 draw. Not sure if you'd call that a commentator's curse if you're a Phoenix Rising fan, but it's definitely a commentator's blessing. 88th minute of play. Pamadou Ka does not want a point. He wants 3. Here comes Rising again. Nino trying to square it towards Smith. Cut away by Daroma. And the energy at Southwest University Park has been minuscule. Shut down as Avayevu on the attacking third. Plays it out towards Smith in the far side corner. Rough first touch, but gets a cross in. It was deflected. And it's a corner kick for Rising.
Ball there when it reached Smith, rolled over where the sod is over what is the warning track, as it is a baseball field. Bobbled. Smith couldn't make a full touch. It was able to recover and play a cross in. And now Rising have a set piece opportunity. Haven't really shown great displays over on set pieces over so far this season and last season as well. Is there a chance for some magic here for Rising?
Already some razzmatazz today with Traore. Quaisho, 2 hands in the air to take this corner kick. Far side, whipped in near post, headed up by Alfaro. Back out towards Quaisho, brings it down. El Paso saying he was offside. No signal given. Either way, he lost control of it on the far side. And it's a goal kick for El Paso. Pamadou Ka said earlier this year, would you rather win a game 1-0 or 5-4? And as quick as Jamali Wade can get this ball in the air, he said 5-4.
He's 1 goal away. Still time, plus however much stoppage time, minute and a half of regular time. I expected quite a lot as there's been so many goals in this half.
Avayevu plays this towards Sacco. 3-on-3. Sacco towards Cabral, and it just skips through. Remy Cabral had a chance to take a touch, and it meandered its way towards the back post. Damian Rivera unable to get it in time, and it's seen out on the near side. Cabral whiffed on the chance. Rivera just 3 yards away from it. Nearly the breakthrough for Rising. 90th minute of play, it's still 4-4. Approaching stoppage time in what has already been a chaotic contest on this Saturday night. Quaisho called for the foul on Wilmer Cabrera Jr. Andy gets up, Palermo Ortiz pops this forward for a free kick. Anybody's game right now. A winner could be decided in the next few minutes. Out towards Andy on the right, looking for some options. Looking forward, now having to track back. Towards Daroma. Daroma leaves it off in towards Ortiz. Ortiz, roughly 30 yards away, places it towards a man. A shot taken, and that one is just squared a little too high and a little too wide right. Seemed like it was Moreno with a chance, going for the hat trick, but it was not meant to be.
Wouldn't have been surprised to see that one go in with how this match has gone. Potmar Boy kind of stepped out of the way, wasn't able to get a deflection, but went over the bar regardless.
5 minutes of stoppage time as we pass 90 minutes. Avayevu clipping his way through, headed away by Quesada. El Paso trying to avoid a disastrous game. They were up 4-1 after a goal by Armando Moreno. A bicycle kick might be something we see on the USL Goal of the Week. Before it was Remy Cabral and Isan Sacco to get some goals back, and then Mo Traore, who had a 35-yard banger in the red and black scrimmage, put this one from 50 yards out, and it just sailed over the head of Jamali Waite. A one-time ball too, a center back stream, and now Rising could get Pamadou Ka's dream results in the next few minutes. Here comes Smith, passing the timeline, trying to leave it off towards Quaisho. He does, and a collision just beyond the center circle between Sacco and Daroma. Yellow card and red card is out for El Paso, and Frank Daroma, who got a yellow card in the first half, is sent off for that reckless challenge. And Daroma, who is 5'4", trying to argue his case. A couple of his taller teammates trying to shield him away.
Clearly not happy with that decision, and that makes sense. Going down to 10 men with such little time remaining could be really the decisive factor on if El Paso can hold on to the draw or Rising can somehow pull off the victory. He didn't look happy when Daniel Carter was trying to restrain him. Now has to walk off the pitch, leaving El Paso at 10.
Free kick coming up for Rising off of the Daroma challenge. In the right half space, adjacent to the center circle. Armando Moreno, the man of the match right now with 2 goals. But Phoenix Rising could change that with an instant. 92 minutes through, roughly 3 minutes of stoppage time remaining in this 4-4 contest as Daroma dawdles his way out of the box. Still taking his time. His left wrist taped up, wondering what could have been. Free kick taken short by Rising. Avayevu, right-footed ball in, looking back post. It's headed up by Smith towards Cabral, knocked down. Traore, rather, Okello with the chance. Cleared by El Paso. Skiers fumbles his way and is eventually cleared by Locomotive. Quaisho able to regain his balance, and it's now played towards Smith. Rising trying to protrude in the attacking half as Traore skies this out towards Rivera. Quesada with the last touch, and it's out with Rising on the near side. Hope Avievu plays this short towards Sacco. Off the turn, Sacco 25 yards out. Sacco left off towards Cabral. Cabral off the turn, dawdles his way down towards the ground. No foul called. Picked up by Wade, and he plays it short towards Ricky Ruiz. El Paso now on the attack. It's now their turn to try to grab 3 points that could have been earlier in this matchup. Marboy clears this away. Back in towards El Paso's defensive third with Alfaro on the left-hand side. Able to get around Cabral. Alfaro, left-footed ball. Skied forward, looking for the run here from Tomasi. Quaisho will control, and he plays a right-footed ball back towards Rakowski. El Paso playing with 10 men as Frank Daroma was dismissed just a minute ago. Golden opportunity here for Phoenix Rising. Pa Moroka energetic on the sidelines as here comes Hope Avayevu, triple teamed right now, taken down, and he'll be called for the free kick as Alvaro Quesada went down with him.
Quesada initiated the contact, but I think that's Avievu putting his arms up at the shoulder area of Quesada that gets him the foul.
Headed back by Skiers. Skiers towards Sacco. One-time ball behind Cabral, and he couldn't backheel it towards the area. Flipped up by El Paso. Now in their defensive third, trying to find the waiting arms, and it does Moreno. Now Moreno out towards Ruiz. A 3-on-6 right now for the home side. Played down the line towards Moreno. His left-footed cross, ricocheted and cleared by Smith. Smith out towards Sacco. This game is open as it ever was in this one, as Sacco tried to race his way through, was roughly 20 yards away from the ball, trying to get around his defender. He will be called for the yellow card, and it's a free kick for Rising in the 5th minute of stoppage time. Roughly seconds remaining in this contest, and Andy Cabrera, who is called for the foul, is going to get his name in the book with the yellow card.
Unnecessary challenge there. Isan Sacco had played the ball ahead so he could run freely without it and then retrieve it once he got to it, but it just feels like that ball was headed out of bounds, a little too far for Sacco to get. Just a bad foul to give away, giving Rising a set piece with such little time remaining.
On the right wing, just a few yards ahead of Wilmer Cabrera, El Paso Locomotive's head coach, stands Emi Quaisho. Black tops, white shorts, black socks, black long sleeve underneath. Players lined up just within the 18-yard box as our referee, Colin Radosov, gives out instructions before blowing the whistle. We're past 5 minutes of stoppage time here. Quaisho, his eyes dead center on the ball. Andy Cabrera, who drew the foul, the one-man wall for El Paso. Jamison Ping also in for Phoenix Rising, his first minutes of the regular season. Whistle blows, Quaisho, left-footed ball into the box, headed up by El Paso. Only as far as Smith in the right half space. He'll play this back towards Rakowski. Rakowski in his defensive third, looking upfield, playing it upfield. Aiming for the right-hand side, headed down by Alfaro. It's brought down again by Rising. Quaisho with the chance. Outside of the box, Quaisho brought down. Jamison Ping with the shot, and it's caught into the waiting arms of Jamali Waite. He punts it forward into the night air of Southwest University Park. It's headed down by Phoenix Rising. JP Skiers plays this out on the right for Noble Okello. He's past the timeline, and it's out again towards Smith. Make that Nino. Nino on the right, trying to slalom his way through, gets it towards Okello. He's onside, and it's clipped away by Akwe off of Okello's cross. Back again towards El Paso. 6 minutes and 30 seconds through stoppage time. Here come the Locomotive, bustling down the tracks. A little bit of a challenge with Marboy and what seemed to be Daniel Carter, who had the game-tying assist last week. No foul called in the process. Back with Rising again. It's ping forward towards Rivera and back in towards Ping. Ping with some space to work on the left. Plays it out towards Rivera. Rivera currently guarded right now by Quesada. Rivera right-footed ball in, headed away by El Paso. Redirected, ball still bouncing in El Paso's defensive third. And with that, the full-time whistle has been blown. A chaotic sequence, a chaotic 90 minutes, a roller coaster to say the least. And it ends in a 4-4 draw for Phoenix Rising, a team who was down 4-1 and gains its first point in the Pa Motoka era. A lot of thoughts on this one, Reese, but we'll keep it short. We'll break it down more on the Rising Radio post-game show. What are your initial thoughts right now?
The fight that Rising showed is a good step, a good sign of things to come for Rising. They were 4-1 down. They could have just sat back and just waited for the match to end, but they didn't. They came back and scored 3 consecutive goals. That's really the main thing that stands out to me, just the fight of Rising in this match.
We'll talk about the fight. We'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly coming up right after this on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hello?
Man, where are you? I thought you were coming.
I can't. I'm in bed with the flu.
The flu? Whoa. Grandma's about to crowd surf. Man, I'll call you back.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is safe, effective, and you can get it at the same time as your COVID-19 vaccine. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
We're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Time for one last kick of the ball on tonight's match. It's Rising Radio postgame wrap-up on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
Well, a crazy, chaotic, overwhelming, hectic 90 minutes. Describe it all you want. It was definitely a game that Phoenix Rising will remember in the Pa Motoka era. Ends out 4-4 at Southwest University Park as Rising climbs back from being down 4-1 to grab a point. Mahirson Haas and Reese Goodall back with you. Welcome into the Rising Radio post-game wrap-up. And you mentioned earlier, Reese, a team that showed some fight and needed to show some fight after what was a rough first half and once again turn on the Jets in the second.
I mean, they went down 4-1. I just can't really get over that fact that Rising were down 4-1 less than 10 minutes into the second half. That it was just sloppy on set pieces, a few sloppy defensive lapses as well. But Rising showed fight. I can't keep saying that enough. They showed fight once they were down 4-1, and then goals from Remy Cabral, Isan Sako, and then the Mo Traore banger. Rising really just did not turn off. I think last season, if they were down 4-1, they would have turned off and just waited till the final whistle to get them out of their misery. Tonight, they fought back and was able to get a draw, their first points of the season.
Overall, 26 shots in this game, 11 belonging to El Paso, 15 belonging to Phoenix Rising. Goals started early and often, and it went towards the home side with Beto Avila getting things started in the 6th minute before Mondo Moreno got his first goal of the day in the 34th. It looked like El Paso had a little bit more rhythm before Phoenix Rising got its first goal of the day, courtesy of Noble Okello in the 3rd minute of stoppage time. But it looked like El Paso was having a little bit more energy going forward in the second half. Gabby Torres, against his former side, makes it 3-1 in favor of El Paso Locomotive FC. A simple tap-in on the back post. And then Mondo Moreno with an early candidate for USL Goal of the Year. A bicycle kick from roughly 12 yards out. The man of the match today with 2 goals tonight, 3 goals on this young season in the 53rd minute. After that, though, it was all Phoenix Rising, with Emi Quaisho getting a goal in the 69th minute, and then Isan Sako making it 4-3 in the 80th minute. His first goal for Phoenix Rising, his first goal in the USL Championship with a simple cut around Jamali Waite, the goalkeeper. But Mo Traore continues to be the relative hero in this one for Rising overall. In the 86th minute, the shot was cleared away from the midfield, and Traore, roughly 50 yards out, decided to take a first-time shot and send it right back towards net. So you talk about Moreno's bicycle kick being a USL Goal of the Week, probably Goal of the Year candidate. It's the same with Traore as well. An interesting game down the stretch, and a couple of red cards late too with Frank DeRoma and then also with Tony Alfaro. So El Paso, technically speaking, shorthanded to end out the game, and they're able to defend against this Phoenix Rising side that has just come in with no quit overall, Reese. And it's still interesting to think about this one. I mean, obviously it is a fight, it is resilience, but you don't get to that type of spot, you don't get to that type of energy unless you get what you have, especially with Phoenix Rising in the first 45 minutes of play.
The first half was nothing spectacular at all for Rising. They struggled to create chances, which had them not having a single goal on the score sheet until a stoppage time where Noble Okello headed in a set piece. But it was just defending was not good for Rising in that first 45. Really wasn't good in the first 60. That's why they conceded the 4. I don't know if it was just they miscommunicated on set pieces. We saw this last year against Tulsa in that crazy 3-3 draw. 2 of Tulsa's goals came from set pieces. El Paso had 2. They could have had 3, but the third one was disallowed due to offside. I don't know what Rising can do in that situation. Is it just an error in marking, communication, like I just said? But whatever it is, they need to figure it out heading into Rhode Island next weekend and just the rest of the season.
You look at the overall goals in this one. You take a look at the stats as well. Only 0.92 expected goals for El Paso in a 4-4 game. Phoenix Rising, a similar stat as well at 1.16. These were goals that at times were quite minimal, especially when you look at Moreno's second goal, even his first goal too, getting around Patrick Rakowski to slide it into the back of the net, kind of essentially leading to Rakowski coughing up that chance. Just an interesting game overall from start to finish. And I think there's a lot of people, I think, from Rising perspectives, you want your new guys to show up. Noble Okello did for sure. 3 shots in the day for him, 1 goal, as we talked about in stoppage time, 0.49 expected goals. Nino Sacco with some options off the bench, a goal for him. It seems like when we talk about the new signings for Phoenix Rising, it seems like they're starting to get comfortable as well.
Sacco did look really good. He's starting to look comfortable. He didn't get too many minutes against Tulsa off the bench as Remy Cabral solidified his spot as the number 9. But Darius Formella went down injured at the end of the first half, was substituted at halftime for Sacco. And Sacco really was one of the key factors to Rising getting back in this game. He came on and provided a new look for Rising's attack, and maybe he is an option going forward as that right wing spot. I know guys like Gerald Margarita, Charlie Dennis are out, but Sacco's really putting his name forward. And then continuing to speak off those substitutions, when Emi Cuejo came on in the 67th minute, quite a few substitutions for El Paso in that same time frame as well. Rising really, that's when they picked up. That's when they completely turned the game around. Those final 25 minutes or so is when Rising turned it from 4-1 to 4-4 just like that.
Hope Avievu getting 2 assists. Colin Smith getting an assist as well. Overall, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players getting their names on the score sheet, either courtesy of a goal or an assist for Phoenix Rising. One more question for you, Reese, before we head to break. It's just interesting to see how this team is gelling overall. I mean, we saw it with the Mo Traore goal. I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
That goal was, it was not quite a carbon copy of what we saw in the red-black scrimmage, like we said, but it's very close to it. I mean, Jamali Waite caught off his line. Tristan Henry in that red-black scrimmage didn't do a good job with that shot as well. But if this is something that Mo Traore can kind of add to his repertoire, similar to what Emi Cuejo did in the 2023 playoff run, that will be a welcome sight for any Rising fan.
So we had to break. We'll come back with more right after this on the Phoenix Rising post-game wrap-up.
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Bliss and a burst of red smoke. Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
This is the Rising Radio post-game wrap-up on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
After 90 minutes, it's 4-4 between Phoenix Rising and El Paso Locomotive, the first of 3 games between these two sides. The second coming up in July of 19. Same place too, Southwest University Park, as part of the USL Jägermeister Cup. And then both teams head back to Phoenix on August 30th at 30th in Washington, a regular season matchup there. Mihir Sanhasan, Reese Goodall, back with you from our bunker. We weren't on site at Southwest University Park. Again, frenzied at times, quiet and minuscule at others, and an interesting matchup overall when you look at how Phoenix Rising played today versus how Phoenix Rising has played overall in the past year or so. And again, you look at how Phoenix Rising started the season. 1 goal in the first 4 games, 3 1-0 losses, 1 to Birmingham Legion at home to start the season. Then they go on the road, lose to Monterey Bay FC. They do win against Oakland Roots in that same scoreline at home before losing to their rival New Mexico United the week after that. They did score 3 goals against FC Tulsa on the road the week after that, 6 days later. But at the same time, 4 goals in the first 5 games versus 4 goals in the first 2 games. A little bit different, but it also shows the type of fight that this team has, and it's relatively new under Pa Motuka.
It was just so lacking of creativity last season, and through 90 minutes today we saw so much more creativity than I felt like 34 matches from a year ago. Obviously that's hyperbole, but it's a good sign for the future. And another good sign for the future is Rising going down 4-1 and coming back. We talked about that so much. It's really the point we're hammering home. You look back at some of the losses last season, they didn't concede too many goals, but when they did, I mean, you look at Danny Stone's last game, 5-1 loss to Memphis. They went down 4-0. The players gave up almost after it was 1-0. There was just no fight in Rising. They did pull a goal back through Darius Formella, but if this result had happened a year ago, Rising would have lost 4-1 today. Pa Motuka has instilled a new confidence in Rising, a new fight, and that's instilled them the belief to come back and draw this match at 4.
And not to be devil's advocate here, but we did see that at times under Danny Stone wasn't exactly perfect, if you will, and it seemed more of a surprise as it is under Pa Motuka, who has said that he wants to have an attacking mindset. Also something coming from a center back himself, Pa Motuka, during his playing days. Again, we're not expecting Phoenix Rising to put up 4 goals per game going forward, but how do you keep this energy into the next game?
You just look at the bright moments there, the bright creativity. I mean, you might have to look at some of the bodies that came on the pitch that led to that creativity. Ikwejo came on his season debut after dealing with injury in the preseason. Isan Sako, like I said in our last segment, came on and made a real difference. It might just be a personnel issue that kind of led to Rising coming out in the first 135 minutes, looking stale in the attack. And if it is, Pa Motuka needs to make those changes to allow Rising to continue this form into the rest of the season.
A 4-4 draw from Southwest University Park. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back for more right here on the Phoenix Rising postgame wrap-up.
You're listening to Rising Radio, home of the 2023 USL champions.
Phoenix Rising, our home. Welcome to 38th and Washington.
Stick around for more as our broadcast continues.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
We're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is the Rising Radio post-game wrap-up on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.
So an 8 post-game fiasco, whatever you want to call it, from El Paso. A 4-4 draw between El Paso Locomotive and Phoenix Rising FC underneath the lights on a blustery night in West Texas. Mihir Hassan and Reese Goodall back with you in the bunker. Again, 7 goal scorers in this one. It was Mondo Moreno, the man of the match, with 2 goals for El Paso Locomotive. That was able to kind of sort of work around Beto Avila's goal in the 6th minute and Gabby Torres' goal in the 47th minute. Gabby Torres, the former Phoenix Rising player himself. 4 goal scorers for Phoenix Rising in this one. Noble Okello getting things started in the 3rd minute of the first half. Stoppage time. Emi Cuecho tacking one as well in the 69th minute, though it seemed like Remy Cabral was also in the mix on that shot, and it will be credited to Cabral. Isan Sacco with the other goal in the 80th minute to make it 4-3, and then Mo Traore, who is allegedly saying that was not a shot, taking the ball from 50 yards out and torpedoing it over Jamali Waite and into the back of the net. An early USL Goal of the Year candidate overall. And Reese, we talked about this team, we talked about the fight, something they didn't show last year under Danny Stone, but they're starting to really matriculate under Pam Odoka. They got a big test next week against Rhode Island SC, a team that, again, comes in heavy and is known for pulling off upsets on the road. Did so against Louisville City SC and Charleston Battery last year en route to the USL Championship final, losing 3-0 to Colorado Springs Switchbacks. And again, we know that this Rising team has a tough stretch ahead, but if you're Pam Odoka, what are you telling your guys going into this next game, especially knowing what happened today?
I'd tell them the same things that you told the team when you were down 4-1. Just believe in yourself, because this Rhode Island team, they are a team that really surprised a lot of people. They added a lot of pieces ahead of their inaugural season in USL Championship last year. Albert Dikwa, former USL MVP, and they've only added to that ahead of this season. They clearly were left with a sour taste in their mouth after losing the final last season. They want to fill that, or get a new taste in their mouth, maybe something sweet, signing Maxi Rodriguez, the former Detroit City star. It's a lot of good pieces for Rhode Island. Yes, they did lose 2-0 to Charleston Battery, but Charleston Battery is one of the best sides in this league, if not the best side. Can't really focus on that 2-0 loss against them as a bad result for Rhode Island.
When you take a look at Phoenix Rising substitutes today, a lot of players seeing the pitch. Again, we talked about Nino Sacco with a goal off the bench. One of the guys who appeared late, deep into stoppage time, when Emi Cuecho was taking that final free kick, Jameson Ping, the 16-year-old homegrown product from Winona, Minnesota, currently his junior year at Valley Christian High School. Now the second youngest player to debut for Phoenix Rising. His goal, he said overall, when he signed his professional contract, to be the youngest goal scorer or assist maker in the history of the club. So that will do it for the Phoenix Rising post-game wrap-up. We will see you next week back at 38th in Washington when Phoenix Rising takes on the reigning Eastern Conference champions in Rhode Island FC. For Reese Goodall, our producer Sammy O'Brien, and Ryan Sikora, I'm Mihir Hassan saying so long, have a great night, and stay safe. Thank you for tuning in to Phoenix Rising FC on the Phoenix Rising Radio Network.